presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. All information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information. The information provided by the speakers and/or presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. All information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information.
Coming soon to Constructive Talk Network, Critical Thinkers. It's a youth show with a youth perspective on current affairs and issues in Trinidad and Tobago. Critical Thinkers, youth perspective on Constructive Talk. Final Hour Christian Ministries invites you to their annual Visitors Day service. End of days. Where are we in 2026? On Saturday, April 25th, 2026 at 11 a.m. Mandela Hall Center of Excellence with Pastor McKenzie and the Final Hour family. See you there. Coming soon to Constructive Talk Network, Critical Thinkers. It's a youth show with a youth perspective on current affairs and issues in Trinidad and Tobago. Critical Thinkers, youth perspective on Constructive Talk.
I started to run when I scope out my country. I walk by a gun, ole, 'cause that is what they promise we. A lot's going on in the sun, so I come here to bring wisdom, so we don't burn down. We lovely society. See, a new government has the assignment to put we country into alignment. But every time they read us with their ego, it's the vulnerable who feeling that blow. Lord, is it ignorance or is it arrogance? I don't know what to call it in this instance. Look at paradise right in front we eyes, but we still want to talk about who we despise.
Tell me where else can we go?
If we start to mash up the good things we know.
Tell me where else can we go?
If we treat we traditions like a papi show, you could fix everything on we island. Put gunships on we back like a tyrant. You could put 10 radars all up Scarborough. But don't forget,
this is Trinidad.
We love we freedom, and every citizen will agree. that no oppression will be accepted by our Trini. We come from long days on the ground, working hard until daylight come, so we'll see it wrong to be a financial donkey. Cause every day we see a new taxation that causing a new kind of sufferation. And when you don't create that irritation, you send police to fix with desperation. Lord, where's the common sense? Where's the true intent to make you think oppression is relevant? Don't be shocked, my friend, when we start to bend and you see them placards in front of the parliament.
Tell me where else can we go?
If we little children are not free to grow.
Tell me where else can we go?
If they try to ban the words in the Calypso, you could try to stop social media or the taping of police murders. You could rewrite a bill like this also. But don't forget, this is Trinidad. Take one look around. Even lingo and all could see confusions in tongue, and it's affecting everybody. Politicians and Facebook trolls, even Calypsonians lost their role. The world's upside down, and I'm worried for my country. Cause every day I see victimization, racial and social aberration. We saying is love need to go wrong, but we spreading this thing like a toxin. Man, things getting so tense, some can't pay their rent, and the effect of this feeling permanent. But what scares me though, just so that you know, is the money we about to borrow.
Tell me where else can we go?
If the IMF start to pull we toe.
Tell me where else can we go?
If we toilet paper start to run too low, you could stress out the CPEP worker. Take a fool and make him a leader. You could change every board cause it's your show. But don't forget, this is Trinidad. I know it's good intentions. We Prime Minister have for we, but brutal measures would only cause rebellion in TNT, like what caused Cambule in times of old. And it's so the story unfold. It's that rebellion that give we people identity. So careful how you deal with we intellect, cause DNA remembers every aspect. Not every time we cry it's just politics. Your mind could start to play you some dirty tricks. Look, remember that honor comes before minister, and that's why we give you so much power. So don't let us down and don't let us frown. We need to see our 360 turn around.
Tell me where else can we go?
If your promises start to look untrue,
tell me where else can we go?
If your own voters losing trust in you, you could do what you want with what intent? You could bar talk the independent bench. You could change the country that we once know. But don't forget, this is Trinidad.
Our defending monarch, Elon Francis. Don't forget.
And everybody in the surprise Calypso, right?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Coming soon to Constructive Talk Network, Critical Thinkers. It's a youth show with a youth perspective on current affairs and issues in Trinidad and Tobago. Critical Thinkers, youth perspective on Constructive Talk. Final Hour Christian Ministries invites you to their annual Visitors Day service. End of days. Where are we in 2026? On Saturday, April 25th, 2026 at 11 a.m. Mandela Hall Center of Excellence with Pastor McKenzie and the Final Hour family. See you there.
Movement is medicine. Sharpens your mind, balances your body, fixes your focus. Elbow your neighbor and tell them you got to bust a move. Dr. King challenged racism in this nation, but realized he couldn't do it sitting behind the pulpit, which is why he sprung into, here it is, the civil rights movement. He marched on Washington. He pulled down the curtain of segregation for the mistreatment in the South to be seen by the entire world. He pushed back against unfair voting laws. He pulled down Supreme Court decisions of division and stood against barking dogs and fire hoses. To be clear, it was not an event, it was a movement. It was protest, legal challenges, civil disobedience, and boycotts, stretching every part of the American body politic all at the same time, because he knew stagnation would be the death of us. I rise this morning because we as a people have become lethargic, sluggish, and sedentary, because we've been sitting so long in comfortability that we no longer feel inclined to make a move. You are in such a rush to go to brunch, to go play golf, to binge watch on Netflix, that making a move is no longer even entertained in your subconscious. ICE in Minneapolis has killed an innocent woman named Renee Macklin Good. And as of this hour, the officer will face no penalty. We're going to have to make a move. An ICE agent threw tear gas in a car full of black children, some of whom are in ICU in this moment. Just this week, one ICE agent has been charged with SAing a detainee because it was the only way he would allow her to get visits. 1,000 more agents are headed to Minneapolis this week. Not even realizing, ladies and gentlemen, that ICE is now the new slave patrol. The Klan no longer wears hoods, they now wear masks. They are no longer volunteers, they're being paid to oppress brown and black people. The budget for ICE must be frozen immediately. If it's in Minneapolis today, it'll be in Marietta tomorrow. If you don't say anything, racism and bigotry will continue to wield its head. But I'm so glad there's some witnesses in the building that understand I cannot sit still when other people are being marginalized. Donald Trump said civil rights has made white men get treated poorly. If they getting treated poorly, then black people are below welfare. They want to go door to door and arrest people with no warrants and no probable cause, and all while he has named himself as the acting president of Venezuela. He's asking Jamaicans and Haitians to self-deport, but has said nothing about illegal Germans and Italians and Swedes because they believe, here it is, that if you are black or brown, you are illegal, but if you are European, then you are permissible. Ladies and gentlemen, the cost of living is skyrocketing. Upcoming elections are being questioned. And military leaders who speak up for accountability are having their pensions being cut. We need a movement.
The information provided by the speakers and/or presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. All information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information.
Well, praise the Lord, everybody. Blessed good evening to you, a blessed good day to you, and blessed good night to you, wherever you are viewing this advertisement today. I'm just to remind you that this coming Friday, make it a date with destiny. There is a word in the prophet's mouth that is going to bring you out. I tell you, it's a good evening, and it's a good day, and it's Good Friday. So you want to join me, yours truly, Apostle Dr. Corey Grant, for a time in his presence. Hallelujah. You want to join me in this location at 166 Point of View Road in Vista Villa as we come together as a people on this Good Friday morning to lift up the name of Jesus. Hear me. Something good is about to happen. Something good is in store. And bring the family out. Bring everybody out. I want to meet you there. I tell you, there is a word. There is a word. And I want to tell somebody looking at me right now, you are scheduled to overcome. Join me this Friday, Good Friday, 10 a.m. right here in the house. Don't just meet me, beat me. I'm looking forward for you. It's a Good Friday, and Good Fridays, good things happen. Stay on the wall, don't come down. God bless you.
Final Hour Christian Ministries invites you to their annual Visitors Day service. End of days. Where are we in 2026? On Saturday, April 25th, 2026 at 11 a.m. Mandela Hall Center of Excellence with Pastor McKenzie and the Final Hour family. See you there. Coming soon to Constructive Talk Network, Critical Thinkers. It's a youth show with a youth perspective on current affairs and issues in Trinidad and Tobago. Critical Thinkers. youth perspective on Constructive Talk. All right, good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Good evening to everyone locked on to Constructive Talk. Yep, it's time for us to talk. And I have with me this evening none other than my father, Pastor McKenzie. How are you, Dad? How are you, Dad? Hello? Hello. I ain't hearing you. What going on with you there? Papa? Oh, Papa.
Yes. Are you hearing me?
I hear you very, very soft. I don't know why.
Alright.
I hear you real soft.
Are you hearing me now?
Alright, just now. Let me see if it's on my end. Hold on, let me see if it's on my end. Because I hear you really soft. So I'm going to play an ad. Right? And I'm going to adjust something to see if it's on my end, okay?
Alright, okay.
Alright. Final Hour Christian Ministries invites you to their annual Visitors Day service. End of days. Where are we in 2026? On Saturday, April 25th, 2026 at 11 a.m. Mandela Hall Center of Excellence with Pastor McKenzie and the Final Hour family. See you there. All right, I think I have you there. All right, talk to me there, Papa.
Yes, are you hearing me now?
All right, I hear you a little better there now. What's going on?
I'm good, and how are you doing?
I see a big service.
Yeah.
Big Visitors Day service and thing. I invited.
Yeah, having a legal corner too. You know? So
Okay.
we plan to have a wonderful time.
So am I invited to that service?
Yes, you will be one of the ministers of music there, and
Okay.
you wanna assist in doing the legal corner?
No, I good. I still a babe. I'm still a babe where that's concerned. But I just wanted you to share with the people a little bit about the service that's happening on the 25th of April at Mandela Hall Center of Excellence. That is the road. That all roads lead to Mandela Hall in the Center of Excellence, where Final Hour Christian Ministries will be hosting their annual. It's not the first one. It's their annual Visitors Day.
Yes, on that day, the 25th of April, we are inviting all our friends and supporters of Pastor's program on this radio. This is the opportunity to meet us in the flesh and come and get your blessing, because we do a lot of spiritual work. We've blessed thousands and thousands of people over the past 28 years in Trinidad.
28 years.
In the United States of America and all over the world. All right. We have had a tremendous run since 1998.
Wow.
Wait.
Just now. Since when?
1998.
That is how long Final Hour around?
Final Hour was launched on the 19th of September 1998. That's 28 years ago. We're making 30 years in 2028.
Dad, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. It's so long, final hour.
Yeah, 30 years. And I have 17 years call as a lawyer this year. And those 17 years, that's within the 28 years that final hour has been around. Right? So when final hour was in its 11th year, that is in 2009, that is when I was called to the bar. I actually studied law while running that ministry. And you know the size of ministry that was. So 5 of those years went towards studying law, and then I have 17 years called to the bar. So 17 and 5 is 22. Yeah. So in the 6th year of the ministry, which was in 2004, I began studying law with Mr. Beckles, Professor Beckles, the best law tutor in the world. All right, and I did my LLB with him. I did that up to 2007. In the year when I completed my LLB, I wrote the exam for the Hugh Wooden Law School. 762 students wrote that exam, and Hugh Wooden only accepted 9 out of the 762, and I was in that 9. And I began studying from 2007. Hugh Wooden Law School took me 2 years to 2009, and I want to say this publicly. My law degree, my LLB degree, was paid for by the government of Trinidad and Tobago. That's $60,000 tax-free. And my Hugh Wooden Law School program was paid for by the government of Trinidad and Tobago. I filled out a form, I put my nationality, and the government paid $100,000 for my law fees, all of it. So my law degree and my call to the bar cost $160,000. Thank God for Patrick Manning and the People's National Movement. People don't understand the contribution that Patrick Manning and the PNM gave to this country in providing free education. There are thousands of black people like myself who are lawyers today because of the PNM, not because of the UNC, not because of the ANR, but because of the PNM. I am one of them. And I remember during that time, I encouraged my members. I said, you all go and get a degree. Even if it's a degree and getting a degree, go and do a degree. You remember me preaching that? You remember?
Well, let me ask you something now. You know, I always tell people that Dr. Nyan Gasby Dolly went to church with me when I was a young man. We grew up in church.
Yes.
We grew up in church. The Honorable Nyan Gasby Dolly grew up in church with me. And Dr. Dolly got her doctorate, everything. In that time when you were preaching, go and study, go and get your education, go and get your masters.
Not only Dr. Nyan Gadsby, but her sister Nikki Gadsby, and her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gadsby, very honorable and decent people. They were all visiting members of my congregation. Nyan sang in my choir under the leadership of Mr. Kenneth Listrom.
And was the other guy named Dad who used to teach us to sing to
Lawrence Hunt?
No, before Lawrence Hunt, before Listrom, there was another man from Arima.
Okay. I can't remember. I can't recall the name right now, but I know you're talking about.
That was the man who taught us the song about I give you my life. Lord, I'm available to you. My life I give to you. I'll do what you say do. Use me, Lord.
Well, Papa, you dead use Luther Vandross.
Hey, don't start that, Trinidad and Tobago, it's not that time. Wait, Dad. Wait. Trinidad and Tobago, it's not that time. Dad used to do open air crusades in Sawo. In a car park in Sawo. And Dad asked, I asked to sing. So there was a song that Dad real like. And I learned the song. I had to audition before I sing outside. That Saturday evening. So there big song system and thing, Who was the DJ we used to use that time by? What's his name?
That was I think it was Leslie Gray and this fellow was operating the system. Anton.
Yeah, but that man we used to rent a system from.
All right, yeah, I know you're talking about. I can't remember the name. Again, I wasn't in charge of that department. You know, Leslie and those guys, you see about that. I mean,
right.
Yeah,
so I know learn my song in Trinidad and Tobago because Papa on fire. So I now learn my song and thing. They audition me. Dad tell them, Ole, listen to that boy sing before he come and sing on my thing. Me on nobody embarrassing me. So I gone up and I pour on the track. I practice the song. Trinidad and Tobago and the world. I real practice the song. When I do so, take the mic and gone up. Dun 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 dun. And I start. I will worship the Lord, for He is worthy. I see that do so. That's it. That's it. That key he started alone. He go boss it even like that song. Oh, let's forget that. Forget that. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't easy back in them days, you know.
Yeah, but those were the days. There are something. I remember one day I'm sitting down and I'm having lunch in what's that place? Where it's Trotters or one of those places. And on the table they have newspaper cutouts, right?
Yeah.
And somebody came, Pastor McKenzie, look you here. They said, you pray for Shorty Eye and take Shorty Eye in your church, look you here. And when I came around and I looked at it, they had that newspaper cutout. And a lot of people don't know that I ministered to Shorty Eye for years. He heard me preaching in Marbella. I think it was through your contact, son.
Yeah.
That, he came and he would sit in his van and listen to me preach. And after I finished that crusade, which you worked along with me in,
yes,
and I baptized 265 people in that crusade. I remember some people came for baptism, and the leaders of the Sunday Adventist Church came, and they said some of those people who are getting baptized, they are getting baptized in jewelry. And the Sunday Adventist Church doesn't believe in jewelry. And I remember the president of the conference, Pastor Peter Prime, was a good friend of my father. We grew up with the Primes in San Fernando. They from Rushwood Street in San Fernando. Know the Primes well, and Pastor Peter Prime, he rose to become the leader of the Caribbean Union Conference. And he came and he sat next to me on the stage and he said, Mackenzie, if I were you, I'd baptize those people, you know, because earrings don't get you into the kingdom. It's Jesus who gets you into the kingdom. So what I did, I told the people, there was a few of them, you remember that, right?
Yeah.
And I met with them on a separate Sunday after the baptisms and I baptized them all. And when the leadership of the Sunday Adventist Church under the leadership of Pastor Aaron Mitchell heard about it, he called me in and suspended me for 4 months for baptizing people who were in earrings. You know? And I'm telling you, the type of experiences we've had over the years, Shorty Eye leaving that facility. I can't remember the name of the facility he suffered, he had bone cancer. A lot of people know that Shorty Eye did not make 60 years of age. Yes, Nyla Blackman's grandfather. We visited him, prayed with him, I prayed with him in that facility. I'm trying to remember the name of the facility in South Trinidad. It's a private facility and he was there. And the ambulance brought him from San Fernando. And he came down to our church down there in the Luke Cinema we were that time.
Yeah, we had the Luke's on Keith Street.
Yeah, I remember he came through the door, the congregation was standing and singing, the Express newspaper was there, Guardian newspaper, you know, Newsday, all of them, they were there. And we prayed for him, and one of the people who came up and laid hands on him was Pearl Lara, Brian Lara's mom.
Yeah.
And yeah, all the Laras were there that day, Kathleen and Agnes and all of them, and Mother Lara laid hands on it was a hell of a day, right? It was a high day in Israel, man, and they laid hands on Shorty Eye and stuff, and we had a good time. And I remember his son, Isaac Blackman, launched his song, jumping up to the ceiling. Launched that song at my church.
Yeah.
I remember the days when JD, Calypso and Maximus Dan, people don't know Maximus Dan, sing some serious gospel music.
Yep.
And I went to that Kirk Franklin show, and some of the artists who were there shouldn't have been there. To me, all that Kirk Franklin show needed was some Maximus Dan and a little Destra. Because Destra throws down some serious gospel music. You know, and this guy, Jared Mills, he was good.
Yeah.
Right? The cut Kirk Franklin program, and I was upset. And if I was closer to that stage, I would have run up on that stage, I would have taken the mic, and I would have done the song I came to hear. I went down there to hear one song, the book of Revelation, chapter 7, verses 16 and 17. God shall wipe away every tear from their eye. Preach it, teacher. They shall hunger no more, neither shall they thirst anymore. Preach it, preacher. For God shall wipe away every tear from their eye. Get ready for the revolution. You know the man ain't sing that?
Nah, he ain't singing.
He come up on the stage, a man looking just like Alexander, come up on the stage and tell him he have 14 minutes again.
Wow.
Well, so Franklin get upset, he threw the mic in the air. Well, I tell my wife and my daughter, I say, let me get out of here. My partner running a nice little food place, Beats, on Chagari Road, obliquely opposite the Oval. I say, let's go there and, you know, sit down and drink some grapefruit juice.
Yeah.
And orange juice.
Yeah.
And let's have a little time.
Yeah.
Hey, while my daughter, Jamila, crossing the road, is Range Rover, is SUV, is this coming out from the Oval. You know, it's Kirk Franklin. You know what Kirk Franklin do? He come by the same bar. I posted it on our chat. And he jumped out of the car and the bar started to jam Revolution and stumble. He talk about violence, talk about party in the road. But I was there headlining everything.
I know that.
It was yeah.
I know you.
Yeah, and Kirk Franklin was really upset. He really wanted to perform. He's a real one. But he didn't stay for long. The security hustled him into the car and he went his way. But that made it for me. That was it for me for that night. You know, so we had several times down there in ministry. We had several instances of healing. It was during that time that I baptized Brian Lara in his swimming pool. You remember that?
Of course.
I remember Cordelia Diet came, Miss Joanne Louie came, Margaret was there, Jamila Rihanna. And I didn't only baptize Brian Lara, I baptized Richard, his brother, and 4 others. 6 of them I baptized in the swimming pool that day. Because interestingly enough, as the story goes, all right, the Laras were raised Seventh-day Adventists in Santa Cruz.
Right.
And then the church had some issues with him playing cricket on the Sabbath and all of that, you know, and he found a refuge in my teaching and preaching that, you know, salvation is not in a day, it's in a person.
Right.
And that person is in Jesus. You could worship God on the right day and have the wrong heart.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right? So who keeping Sunday and who keeping Saturday, who praying on a Friday, that is not what makes the man. It is the heart of a man. You know, so he found refuge in that preaching and I baptized them and I was able to pray and minister to Pearl Lara, you know, Brian's mom before she died. And remember that funeral was held at Stanmore Avenue Church. And in Stanmore Avenue Church, I remember Pastor Sanderson didn't want me on the pulpit, because I was seen as anathema. And I was...
what?
They didn't want me on the pulpit.
What is...
Anathema? Anathema is something like, well, I left the Seventh-day Adventist church and they felt as though I should not be on their pulpits in their churches. Because remember, when I resigned from the Seventh-day Adventist church in 1998, the president of the church, Pastor Errol Mitchell, put out a circular saying David Mckenzie is no longer a pastor of the Seventh-day Adventist church. He's not a preacher on any pulpit or whatever. So when Brian Lara's mom died, the family requested that I be in the funeral. And so the Adventist church wanted the prestige of hosting that funeral at Stanmore Avenue Seventh-day Adventist church, but the family insisted that I had to be there. So I walked up on the platform and I was able to do my thing. But those pastors, they were upset. And as Pearl Lara went down in that hole in that cemetery in Santa Cruz, I remember Pastor, I don't remember his name now, but he and myself were able to do the final prayer. And I remember Brian's eyes being red with tears. He was crying for his mom because she ill for a while, but I was able to minister to her through my church final hour ministry. So if we start to talk about the memories we've had, I mean, I don't have the numbers and the membership I had then now, but I mean, church was a packed out, sold out experience. We were able to minister to tens of thousands of people who would have gone on, migrated, got married. I understand some went to Gary George's church after my crusade in Samoa and all of that. But we still kicking.
Yeah.
You know, and we there at the Center of Excellence, Nelson Mandela Hall, April 25th. We'll be there. So I'm inviting all of you to come out and fellowship with us. I'll have a legal corner where, you know, I'll deal with certain legal issues. I want to deal with joint enterprise because I believe a lot of young men are getting in a lot of trouble and they are making jail and doing jail time because they don't understand the legal concept of joint enterprise. And I'm going to talk, if you give me the time, give me 15 seconds and I'll talk about it.
Sure, go ahead, Dad.
All right, joint enterprise it's a form of criminal activity where one person comes and he speaks to his friends. So John would come to his friend Peter and Paul and say, let's go and beat up a man. But we will slap him up. We'll use our hands and slap him up. So the plan is John would have met somebody, let's say Karen, and Karen would have hit John, and John went and rounds up his friends. But the plan between John and his friends is to slap up Karen. That's the plan. On the way to slapping up Karen. On the way to slapping up Karen, mothers, if you have any sons or any young nephews or whatever before the courts or whatever, you need to hear this and you need to come out on the 25th of April. We'll deal with the issue of joint enterprise. So John and his friends decide to go and beat up Karen. On the way there, somebody pulled out a knife. Now, they didn't discuss having a knife. Somebody pulled out a gun. They didn't discuss having a gun. The law says if John continues on the enterprise, knowing that somebody has a gun, which was not discussed, or a knife, which was not discussed, and somebody dies, Karen dies, everybody goes down for murder. Everybody is charged with murder. And the only way you can get out of it is if when you see the knife, you say, what you bring that knife here for? Or what you bring that gun? You were just supposed to hit the man some bellas, hit the man some slap. What you bring that knife here for? And in a car, the law says open the door and throw yourself out of the car. And then you will not be charged for murder. But as long as you continue going on that beat to beat up that guy, everybody getting charged for murder. Even if you didn't squeeze the trigger, or even if you didn't chop up the guy or stab the guy with a knife. Whoever does the act, everybody goes down and gets charged with murder. You know how many young men out of a prison population of close to 10,000 in Trinidad and Tobago in jail because they went on a beat with a brethren? Right? Because man does get beat up in Trinidad and always have a bad man friend. And they go and they call their bad man friend and they round up two men and they jump in a Tida or a Aqua. Right? And they jump in the car and they go on and they ride for the man and one man shoot and everybody go down for murder. So joint enterprise is a very common form of criminal activity in Trinidad and Tobago because what we have in Trinidad is a set of cowards and a set of Timo bad man, right? A set of Timo fake bad man, and they can't stand up for themselves. So they always have to run and rounds up three brethren to go and ride for a man. That's what I say. Let me ride for that man. And everybody going down. So come and learn about joint enterprise and, you know, so that your sons and your nephews and your nieces and them, these guys like the boast. When you touch me, I know a gun man, I know a bad man, so and things. That is very common in Trinidad. And a lot of people getting locked up for it, and they getting locked up for 15, 20 years. Because they couldn't deal with it themselves, and they had to round up a brethren, and somebody bring a gun, or somebody bring a knife, or somebody bring a bat, or somebody bring something, and the person dies. Another thing too, if you hit somebody and they have what is called an eggshell skull, and they die, and you fracture their brain and their skull, and the fragments of the fractured skull puncture the brain, pardon, because plenty of things have end up not how you wanted it to end up. Right? So all of that will be happening here. We'll be dealing with that on the 21st of April. And I want to thank you very much for allowing me to advertise this program on your program, and to your listeners, we invite you to come out. So Saturday, the 25th of April, they can't afford to miss it. Furthermore, when we finish, you're getting refreshment. What church in Trinidad and Tobago, we just go and get something to drink and eat afterward. Instead of a hungry church, or they go and come to a real church. All right? And we will bless you on the 25th of April. All right? Okay.
I'm seeing where somebody is seeing here a Hazelan. I believe it's Hazelan is her name.
Hazel. I know Hazel from Canada.
But apparently she said that I was baptized by Pastor McKenzie.
All right, okay. That wouldn't be that particular Hazel, but remember, it's thousands of people I would have baptized over the years.
Yeah. But somebody's asking, so is the ministry a Adventist ministry?
No, it isn't. It isn't a Sunday Adventist ministry.
Come on!
In 1998.
Sorry, Dad. Sorry. I just sang.
Yeah.
Let's blurt out because,
Right. In 1998, I resigned as evangelist from the Sunday Adventist Church.
Right.
After working with them for 3 years and 9 months, and after having baptized well over 1,000 people over those 3 years and 9 months, and I started my own independent ministry.
All right. We have somebody like they want to ask you a question.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Pastor Bugai again. I call it for the first time tonight. Good night to all the callers and listeners. Listener, Alexander.
No, we ain't talking about Alexander yet.
What are you talking about?
We you now join. I'm talking to my father here, and he is inviting you to a service at the Center of Excellence in Mandela Hall on the 25th of April.
All right.
So
okay.
when we done talk that, then you can call and talk about Alexander.
All right. Okay. All right. Thanks.
And don't get me in trouble with Alexander now. He listening to the program.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, I know him.
All right. So Dad, let me ask you something now. You know that I was getting trouble from time to time. You aware of that?
Yes, you mentioned it the last time.
All right. Yeah. From time to time, I was getting a little problems, and it doesn't make sense calling you because one, I realized that they on me now. They on me. Last night I played a clip. Have
you ever been sued?
No. I've been warned. I had to So there was I had a visitor on the program one time, and he made a statement about a minister, and the minister's wife called as a lawyer. She's a lawyer, so she got my number and she called me and she said to me, "You need to apologize and retract those statements that you had a gentleman on your program saying about my husband, or else we will send you a pre-action protocol letter." No, when the gentleman did say what he said, I did try to distance myself from it. But that wasn't enough for them. So I had to come on. I keep forgetting, I don't know why I kept on forgetting to do the apology, but then there was one evening, I think she messaged me and she said to me, I've been listening and I haven't heard you apologize or retract the statements, and I end up doing it an evening on the program.
Yes, but let me tell you something, right? When you make these statements and people call demanding apologies, remember you have several defenses under the law of defamation. You have qualified comment, you have fair comment, you have privileged comment. You are a radio host, you are a national figure, well known in Trinidad, throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. There are several newspaper reports and other reports that could verify the truth of your statements. And unless the statement you would have made is patently false or verifiably wrong, right, and constitutes an assassination of the person's character that would cause them to be lowered in the eyes of right-thinking members of a society, which is the test for defamation, libel, or slander. Libel would be things printed and slander would be things spoken. So in this case, it would be slander. Then you don't owe an apology. You don't owe them an apology, and don't let people just call you and demand an apology just like that, because as a radio broadcaster, you have what is called, you have privileged comment and you have fair comment, and you have more leeway to say things, to say more things than the average common man in the street.
Okay.
You see, so another thing too is only the defamed, the allegedly defamed person could call and ask for that apology order too.
Okay.
The wife of the person can call. She wasn't defamed, she can call you.
Okay.
I would have run you off the post.
All right. Well, you see, look at it.
Was anything said against you? No. Well, then goodbye. Let your husband call or let his attorney call. She can call on behalf of her husband and ask you to apologize. So next time, get my view on it.
Okay. Because yesterday I played something too with the Prime Minister. Now, on Sunday, CNC3 had a story that the government wanted to raise the fare to Tobago with Caribbean Airlines. Right?
Right.
And they ran a story also talking about how they have been advised that, Caribbean Airlines were getting advice to close down, right, the airline. So what I did was I went back to a clip that I had when after the Prime Minister won after Ms. Bisasa won the election last year, April, she had a public meeting. And in the public meeting, she said that if Caribbean Airlines don't become profitable in 2 years, she's going to send home all the staff. Now, I asked a question, and the question I asked last night was, the sending home of all the staff, what does that mean? Does that mean that she's going to close down Caribbean Airlines, or does that mean that they're going to restructure Caribbean Airlines? Because you say you're going to close it down. You say you're going to, send home all the workers. So how can you send home all the workers and keep the airline running? It was kind of strange. And after that, today I got a text message telling me to refrain from, and what was the word? Just I'm going to tell you the word they use. Refrain from inferring things that is not said.
Well, what were her actual words?
I will play it for you.
Yeah, play it.
Dad, you like taking it. I'm going to play it. Take a listen to Miss Bisasa. You like taking it. Hey, yeah. Well, yeah.
In Caribbean Airlines, they have 86 people in their financial department. Now guess what? They have spent over $60 million hiring Ernst & Young and Price Waterhouse to conduct audits. 86 people on your staff. Billions and millions being paid out like this. To date, Caribbean Airlines has not submitted an audited financial statement for the last 9 years. Do you know not one single Caribbean Airlines route is profitable? Not one route is profitable. Yet plane filling up every day, going and coming. Not one single route of Caribbean Airlines is bringing a profit. But we are spending millions of dollars there. I am giving the management of Caribbean Airlines 2 years, max. They have to sort out the mess. Otherwise, everyone there will have to look for a new job. Everyone will have to look for a new job. Your future is in your hands. No longer will we accept taxes paid by ordinary citizens, paid by teachers, paid by policemen, small enterprises. We take your money to upkeep CAL, allowing its management to receive large salaries for doing what? Failing in their jobs. Must not continue. Furthermore, My government will not continue to bail out perennially failing state enterprises. The majority of them are failing, spending billions in debt still. This cannot continue. We cannot do business like this.
That, what you understand her to mean when she said that?
Okay, so she made several statements there. She said, Caribbean Airlines has 86 people on their financial department. Right? So the people in the financial department won't be the pilots or the regular staff, the baggage handlers and all of that. They're not in the financial department. So I would assume that she's targeting the financial department because she spoke specifically about it not being audited. And they're not producing an audited statement for how many years. But then she comes around and she says, if we don't get your act together, I'm sending home all the people there. All the people there is not the 86 financial staff.
Right.
All the people there, it is fair for a listener, a reasonable listener, right, to draw an inference that she's sending home everybody, baggage handlers, pilot, plane seat, ticket, everything going home.
Thank you.
So if that is the conclusion you have come to.
Yes.
And your conclusion of that, in your own words, says she said she's closing it down. Well, that may be a stretch further, but I don't see a court or a reasonable person disagreeing that that is what she meant to. But could it be that she wants to close down the airline so there's no Caribbean Airlines?
But then she went on. But then she went on to talk about other state agencies that are not profitable.
Right. So let me tell you something. There's a principle in law that says one can make a statement from which adverse inferences can be drawn.
Right.
And adverse inference is a bad conclusion. So she could make a statement or several statements which cumulatively to the natural mind of the reasonable man. The reasonable man could say, oh, you know, Kamala going and close down Caribbean Airlines, but she says she's sending home everybody. She may not have said those words, but an inference could be drawn from what she's saying. She says sending home everyone, and then she come and she say the financial staff, 86 financial staff who haven't completed an audit. So several conclusions can be drawn. So for somebody to try and craft a lawsuit and ask an apology because your conclusion on that was that she's going and closing it down, she didn't use those words. But an inference could be drawn from what she said. That she said everybody, she said, everybody going, those are the words I heard. Right? So, these people who quick to sue and sensitive. And let me remind Trinidad and Tobago of this case. Ramada. When Prakash Ramada was in the COP, he had his brother who was also in the COP. And something was said on the hustings against the brother or against Mr. Ramada or whoever. They said words against one another. It reached the Privy Council. And the Privy Council in its ruling says when you are seeking high political office, and you're on the hustings and you're campaigning to take the reins of power in this country, you cannot be shrinking violet. Those are the words of Lord, whatever is the Lord name. Can't remember his name now. All right? Those were his words, Lord Blackburn or something, so was his name. Oh, I think it was a female. Right? She said, you can't be shrinking violets. You can't be the prime minister of a country. You can't be on the radio. You can't be a prime minister. You can't be a high-ranking attorney. You can't be a member of parliament, a councilman, somebody who is in public life. And you're sensitive. Those were the words used by the Privy Council. You can't be shrinking violet. You know it's a shrinking violet, son?
Tell me.
You know when you're going to school long time, it have a plant as soon as you touch it, it close up?
Yes.
It have a set of little fine leaves on it, on both sides. It's like a small coconut bag. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And when you touch it, it closes up. As soon as you touch it, it closes up. And when you move away, it opens back up. That plant is called a violet. And when it closes up, it shrinks. And it is called a shrinking violet. Meaning as soon as you touch it, it's sensitive. Well, the goodly Lord, Justice of the Privy Council, used that plant as an example of people who are too sensitive. Can't take talk. As soon as you tell them something, they want to shut down freedom of this and freedom of that. They want to shut down Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. You can't say this, you can't say that. Right? But you want to be in public life. You want to be in public life. Right? You want to blow in a bag, right? And tell people and refer to Marvin Gonzalez as Lefty from Sesame Street. Right? You want to make all kinds of statements. You want to refer to the Prime Minister of this country as an Oreo. Want to call him Rawan. Want to call him a rapist. And when you in power, too little talk on your vex. Right? No. We ain't dropping it so. Take talk like a man. You want to give, take. That's what the Privy Council said. So what the Privy Council basically told the Ramada brothers and Ramada, stop being shrinking violets. Right? You want to be on the hustings, you want to seek high political office in this country, rather than to take some talk. Soon as you get touched, you close up. You close up. You get vexed, you get sensitive.
Wow.
Yes, wow is right.
So what happened is that I would have pulled that I would have drawn that discussion yesterday because of a story on the news. The news would have brought up the story. That's why I referred to Ms. Bisessa's statement. Because of what was said in the news. I'll play the story for you now, where they refer to statements made by the so I'm gonna play the clip for you now, and you take a listen to this and hear what was said in the news.
Caribbean Airlines is tonight denying reports that it plans to close down the company. Caribbean Airlines is tonight denying reports that it plans to close down the company. A Sunday Guardian report revealed that the airline approached the finance ministry seeking, amongst other things, a financial bailout. At least 2 directors reportedly believe the airline should be either closed or sold. But CAL says operations continue as normal. In a media release, the airline's board says there's been no discussion about winding up the airline. Instead, it insists the board is actively reviewing operations and working on audited financial statements. Meanwhile, Chief Secretary Farley Augustine says he doesn't share the view that CAL should be closed down. In a WhatsApp message to CNC3 News, Augustine says the THA views CAL as a public transportation service, and as such, the economic benefits far outweigh balancing the finances. He says CAL should be adopting the Copa Airlines model and subsidized into making our 2 major airports a hub between the Caribbean and the rest of the world.
Chairman of the National...
So you heard that, right, Dad?
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Right. I'm looking for. Right. Let me read this for you, and I want all the politicians and the people who just listening to try and make a case against Pastor or against anybody who is on radio. I want you all to listen to this. Listen, Trinidad and Tobago. Listen. All right. Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, Senior Counsel. Privy Council ruling says politicians must have thick skin. I like that one. All of you listening, Alexander, Kamala, whoever listening, Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, Privy Council ruling says politicians must have thick skin. Kind of nonsense is this, Alexander and all of them talking all kind of nonsense, and they want to call the United States Embassy and ask them to check out people's passport and all of that, right? Because for what, right? And people post something on YouTube, they post something there, and that's Trumpian politics. Trump like to call people all kind of names, and he can't take talk. When the New York prosecutor Letitia James came at him, and found him guilty of all those things and all those counts, he's a petty man, right? He struck back at her, and he's still fighting her to this day because he's thin-skinned. And this government has modeled their governance against Donald Trump, after Donald Trump. But I'll never forget this ruling, and let me share this. Right? And I want you to take note of this, and all who listening, I want to sue. Right? Because you can't take talk. You'll always get talk in Trinidad, boy. That is how we are. We are Pekong people. I see the thing with Alexander Sedong doing common entrance, boy. What we used to call common entrance long time. And SCA. People will make fun of you. If people think you're done, see, they will say you're done. And they will do meme after meme after meme after meme after meme, because the people's view of you is that you're done here. If you're drunk and you're always drunk, people will make jokes, they will sing songs, and they talk about the Prime Minister being drunk and vomiting on the statue somewhere in India. Right? Jack Warner got up on a platform and say all types of things. That's how we are. And you will not bully anybody with your petty lawsuits. I mean, if you really say something that is defamatory, you'll have to face the law and you'll have to answer. It happened with Coco, right? And the court ruled that against Coco and in favor of Vincent Ishmael, after which he died. I wrote an article the other day saying it's Coco who killed Ishmael, because with the whole, I don't know, because with the whole thing, I don't even think the money was paid on the defamation. If the person, the defamed person died, I don't think that the judgment follows. All right, so Coco said certain things in the song, but I've been going on forever in Trinidad and Tobago. All right, so the Privy Council stepped in and said, Privy Council ruling says politicians must have thick skin. Let me read this for you. A Privy Council judgment in favor of St. Augustine MP Prakash Ramadan has been described by Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj Senior Counsel as a landmark ruling in relation to the public speech of politicians. Are you listening to me tonight? He said the judgment gave the media and ordinary citizens greater ability to challenge politicians on any public statement they made. So if you were aware of this, you would not listen to them telling you to apologize and trying to bully you and cry. If you were aware of this, what Ramesh is saying. Let me read more. At a news conference at his Irving Street office in San Fernando, Maharaj said the judgment showed that politicians could not be shrinking violet. Brother, look at it in front of me. And drinking violence is in court, or thin-skinned when it came to their public conduct and their response to public criticism. So you remember that on Monday, Ramadan won his defamation appeal at the Privy Council. That ended a saga which began 7 years ago when Ramadan's brother, Kishore, Rudolph Hamanji, and Satu Ann Ramcharan sued him for defamation in relation to statements he made then as COP political leader at a news conference after the party's National Council meeting in November 2013. At that meeting, Maharaj said the council considered resolutions brought by Kishore and Ramcharan and whatever. Alright? And it reached to the Privy Council, and he said he bore no malice towards anyone. So Prakash won his case. While disappointed by the ruling against him in the local courts, Ramadan was grateful for the Privy Council's ruling and its continued status as TT's final appellate court at this time. That remains the precedent. In this this country, for any politician who can take talk. I want to sue radio announcers. You want to sue people who blogging or vlogging or whatever. That's the president there. Shrinking violence, man. That doesn't to take talk.
Okay.
Yeah. Can't make that up.
Somebody wanted to know, somebody's asking, Pastor Google, can your father share the number of the PC judgment?
What they want is the citation. Privy Council 7 years ago. Let me see if I can find it. If it's not here, then I will look for it. Privy Council. No, they didn't give it here, but let me see if I can pull it up. It would have been 2013. Okay, the statement was made in 2013, I think, and the Privy Council would have made their judgment. Alright, so I have here Privy Council judgments, Ramadan. Privy Council. Alright, so we can talk about other things. Let me look for it in the meantime, so I can give them the citation. 5 Privy Council cases. Let me see if I can type in Ramadan.
So there's a story that made the news tonight, Dad, about some men who got set free. A murder, it was a murder, they were alleged murder, and I want you to listen to what was the judgment that was brought down. All right?
All right, so let me give it to you now. All right, so the person who is asking for it, this is the citation, all right? So the citation is Ramadan and others, Trinidad and Tobago, 2020, UKPC, United Kingdom Privy Council, the number 7, 2nd of March 2020, the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. All right? The page on which the judgment is that these were shrinking violence, I think it's page 4040. You will find it on. So that's the citation, right? Ramadan and others, Trinidad and Tobago, 2020, UKPC, United Kingdom Privy Council, the number 7, the 2nd of March 2020. You can actually type in what I'm giving you here in Google and it will come up. All right, on to the next thing. Yes, what will you say?
All right, so there was an article or story this evening in the news that I want to hear your views on. All right, so you could bring some clarity to the listeners about this story in the news that was in the news this evening.
After almost a decade in prison, 5 men accused of murdering a Laventille couple in 2016 are now free.
Olatunji Denbo, Michael Finley, Kyle Belgrave, Sion Barneswell, and Kellon Maxine were discharged this morning after prosecutors offered no evidence as their trial was about to begin. The men were greeted by relieved relatives upon release. They had been charged with killing Andre Latouche and Abiola Noel in February 2016. Prosecutors had relied on a witness who claimed she saw the men threaten the couple before the shooting. But defense attorneys produced a statutory declaration in which the woman admitted she fabricated the story to protect her boyfriend from a firearm charge. Prosecutors challenged the declaration but conceded it would be unfair to use her statement without her present for questioning.
All right, Dad, what's your thoughts?
Well, in that case, they have to release all the defendants, which I think is what happened. what happens a lot of times is that the prosecution fails to prosecute the case, and the case has to be dismissed for lack of prosecution. And the prosecution could fail, all right, on several grounds. It could be a failure to produce witnesses. It could be a failure to produce a key witness. It could be a failure to produce evidence. Right? One of the most common failures by prosecutors is failure to meet the time deadlines given by the court for disclosure to the other side, because the other side needs to have everything that is going to be used against them in the case disclosed to them. So disclosure is a big issue. And if the prosecution is failing to disclose to the other side, all right, so that they can prepare their defense, they are failing to disclose witness statements, key pieces of evidence. It may be video evidence of a camera, of a public camera, whatever. All of that needs to be disclosed to the other side, and failure to meet the deadlines to disclose those documents could meet in the defense applying for making a no-case submission. And there are several cases that could be used to make a no-case submission, Balfour, Subramanian, and they use those cases and they have the matter dismissed. In this particular case, based on what you said, the prosecution, another thing that the prosecution fails on is producing witness statements that are sworn. Many times they have unsworn statements. Somebody give a statement, but they're free to sign it. They don't want to swear because they don't know next thing somebody find out they are witness and they clock their card, So a lot of times the prosecution ends up with a lot of unsworn witness statement, or a witness may be scared to come to court, right? In that case, the judge would usually ask the prosecutor to state whether he was aware if any threats was made, against the person who was supposed to come and give evidence, and if he says no, he's not aware of any threats that were made or whatever, then they make an application to have the case dismissed. So when they say a man loses, a case is lost on technicalities, those are some of the technicalities that come up. They are not necessarily, they are points of procedural impropriety, right, and not necessarily points of law, because the case would have never gone to trial and the case is thrown out. Right, so tainted evidence, unsworn witness statements, failure to produce witnesses, failure to disclosure to meet court deadlines, all of those reasons and others would have been why the prosecution failed. Let me say this. Not because the prosecution failed to prosecute doesn't mean that the person who is released is guiltless. You understand what I just said?
Loud and clear.
They may have well done the crime, but the prosecution failed on several technical points and they walk free. And now what happens? A lot of times the people, they try to turn around and now sue for malicious prosecution. But then if the case wasn't prosecuted and it was dismissed for lack of prosecution, they can't come now and sue for malicious prosecution. So for you to sue for malicious prosecution, there must be a prosecution, but then the prosecution failed to prove its case. And then you have to prove malice, which is very difficult to prove. To prove malice, you have to show that the prosecutor, not so much the prosecutor, but that the police and those investigators in the case, they had a particular hatred for you, and they came out for you, and they didn't like you, and they did it out of bad mind and spite, and that's a very difficult thing to prove. But several people, I think 20 men were recently awarded $1 million each or something, so I don't know if the figures are right. But I think that was a Divinja Naipaul.
Yeah, Divinja Naipaul case. Yeah, there's some people who got money for that.
Yeah, the state has to pay them. So, yeah, a lot of people, they commit crimes and they walk free, not because they didn't commit the crime, but because it was never prosecuted in the first place, because the prosecution failed on several grounds. Tainted evidence. We have the fruit of the poison tree. The fruit of the poison tree is illicitly gained evidence. If you carry a man in a police station and 4 police lock the door and decide to take out the man's private parts and slam it between a drawer, you know, and beat the man on his head on one spot and open his head and beating him for evidence, and he finally confessed. You know, like the fruit of the poison tree, he only say yes because the police would have killed him. You know, so and it's certainly several points on which the state could lose a case. See?
All right. You know, this evening I was supposed to have the chairman of the Tunapuna Regional Corporation on with me, Mr. Josiah Austin. But apparently Mr. Austin is in a urgent meeting, a pressing meeting in his office at this time, so he's unable to join the broadcast, because I wanted to find out from him about the situation with the Eddie Hart ground now. I don't know if you are aware of what's happening where the Eddie Hart ground is concerned. Are you aware of what took place with the Eddie Hart ground?
Yeah, but my client, I represented the groundsman in that case. And before Josiah was there, the fellow who was there is Quincy. Is Quincy his name, boy? Quincy?
No, not Quincy. Okay, I know you're talking about.
A kind of chubby fella.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Chubby brown skin fella. It's not Quincy.
Not Quincy is his name.
Can't remember his name. But he was the guy there, and then he was replaced by Josiah. But when he was there, the groundsman who stayed below the pavilion was my client. Look, I'm looking at that plaque right here now, right, that he gave to me. He was the one who
Quincy Robinson.
Quincy, I'm saying Quincy Robinson. So when Quincy Robinson was there, the guy who was responsible for the grounds and responsible for the football side called Heart Boys National, he was staying below the pavilion and they wanted him out. But he was also the groundsman. He was the number of the groundsman. And then what happened in that particular case, I could talk about it now. I remember who was the lawyers for the regional corporation at that point in time. One of them is my batch. We went to law school together. And what happened is that the corporation had allowed vendors to come and sell on the ground. And the vendors, I mean, they were cooking, they're making pizza, they're making pasta, they're making all types of things, food. And the oil they're using, they emptying it out on the ground. And the oil began to seep into the soil. Now, what happened, if you look at the Eddie Hart ground, I don't know when last you were there, you'll see what appears to be a water pumping station. Now, that water pumping station, there were several of them all over the ground, because below the Eddie Hart grounds is a well, you know.
Okay.
What happens is that the rain falls and it runs down the mountains, right? You see the mountain range up there, you know what I mean? And it runs down the mountains, it comes down into the Cora River, and it settles below the ground. So deep below the Eddie Hart ground is a well, several wells. So Wassa had 6 wells on that ground at that time. Right? Because I grew up in Tunapuna, I remember when that ground was littered with wells. Right? And that was providing water to all the people around in the community. I live Savannah Drive, which is right nearby. And Takarigo, those people were getting water from the wells. Wassa. So there's still a Wassa well there on the ground. Alright? But the oil from the cooking, I don't know if you ever went up there and saw all the vendors cooking and all kind of things. People coming and buying doubles and food and all of that.
Yeah, I see it from time to time.
Right. So the vendors, they were dumping the oil, and the oil was seeping into the water. It was a serious environmental thing. And then there's an environmental group called Green Space. Right? And they were trying to keep that area as a green space because, yes, that was going back with in the days of this cricketer fella. I'm seeing his name now, but there was a family that had given the ground to be used by the community as a green space, a place to bring your family and have picnics and all of that. And then it morphed and it mutated into what it is now, football and sports and all of that. The WhatsApp pumps were removed and all of that. So that is what I dealt with at the time when Quincy Robinson was there. I don't know what is the present case now.
Well, I'll play for you now what it is happening at the Etihad Ground. What is happening at the Etihad Ground is a serious issue. And it was in the public domain, so I played for you so that you'd have an idea. I would have liked if you could have looked at it while I played. If somehow you could have pull up the channel Constructive Talk on YouTube and see what I'm talking about. Also, the person who asked for the document, she said, Pastor Google, let your father know I found the 19-page judgment and I wish to thank him profusely.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, so the person found the document that you would have, the judgment that you would have read out from. So let me play for you now the situation with the Etihad Ground.
Mere months after renowned sport administrator Etihad dies, a sudden decision has been taken to halt reconstruction works at the Etihad Ground. This has sparked grave concern and outrage from officials within the Tunupuno-Piarco Regional Corporation. Mere months after renowned sport administrator Etihad dies, a sudden decision has been taken to halt reconstruction works at the Etihad Ground. This has sparked grave concern and outrage from officials within the Tunupuno-Piarco Regional Corporation. In a strongly worded statement, the chairman, Josiah Austin, is questioning a project awarded in November 2024 and reportedly backed by approved funding could be stopped due to what is now being described as a lack of funds. Speaking with TV6 via phone, Austin explains he found out about the development by calls from Burgesses.
I would have been notified just like everyone else, and it's very unfortunate that as the chairman of this corporation that we would have been notified by persons calling just to have us know that the galvanized and the hoarding is being taken down. You know, it's very unfortunate that this milestone and legacy project cannot continue and is now terminated.
He notes the project was awarded by UDICOT and initiated under the People's National Movement Administration and was actively progressing prior to the April 28, 2025 general election.
We asked for full and public accounting of the funds that were allocated for this project and also a clear plan and definitive timeline of the immediate resumption of works, because we only accept and expect that this project be continued in some form or the other, and we take the politics away from it.
Corporation officials argue that public contracts are not issued without secured financing, raising concerns about the status of the original allocation. Austin says the people of Tunupuno-Piarco are entitled to a clear and honest explanation. The project originally contained a 15-month timeline, but he says little has been done since the UNC government took up office. And despite an announcement by Finance Minister Devindranath Tanku during the 2025 budget presentation that the project is no more, Austin contends that the corporation had still been in constant communication with the Office of the Prime Minister, under whose purview the project fell. The Etihad Ground, Austin described as a symbol of pride, achievement and excellence. It is a long-standing sporting facility serving East Trinidad and viewed as a key community asset. The chairman calls the delay contentious and calls the suspension of works not only disappointing but deeply disrespectful to Burgesses. He further warned that this latest move sends the wrong message, particularly in the run-up to the local government election. He ended the statement saying, quote, "The people of Tunapuna Piarco will not accept silence, nor will they accept excuses. Restore the project, account for the funds, respect the people," end quote. Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Barry Padarath, when contacted, said he was not immediately familiar with the project but agreed to look into our queries.
Where's your thoughts, Dan?
That project has a long history. To understand the history of the Etihad grounds, you know who you have to talk to?
Who is that?
Not Kamala, not Rowley, not Padarath, not Kwesi, not Josiah. You know who you have to bring on your program?
Who is that?
Derek Murray. And Colm Imbe. Don't get tied up with Colm Imbe. Don't get tied up with Colm Imbe. He is a boss. He is a historian. Let Colm Imbe on your program and let him give you the history of the Etihad grounds. Who gave those grounds to the villages? The family that donated it. The intention of the family in donating it. And how those intentions have been distorted and twisted by politics over the years, including doing construction work on it, including putting up the hockey center. I know the history. I was involved in the case. That case was in the papers. I was representing the groundsman, who there for over 20 years as Etihad himself put the man there. Right? The man made his way through the orphanage and thing. Because as you know, the orphanage is right next door to where Etihad lived. And grew up right next door to the St. Mary's orphanage. And my client came through the orphanage system. And he went to Etihad looking for a job. And Etihad told him go and stay in the pavilion. And he'd been there for 20 plus years. And he had to witness how they come and they pave the ground. Right? So that these vendors could come. And that ground was supposed to be paved. There's a green space. Colm Imbe. That is the man to get on the program. He's our boss. He knows about every piece of land in Trinidad and Tobago. Right? And he will give you the history of that ground. He'll tell you about Derek Murray and the Murray family, who would have been instrumental in making donations to the people of Tunapuna concerning that ground. The family owned that whole acreage there. I know it was never their intention for the grounds to be a sports ground, for them to pave it, for them to bring vendors, put it on the ground, and for them to build up any concrete structures on it. Next door to the Etihad grounds, helicopters land there. It's a big field. They play cricket on it. When you really check the whole space, it's really nice, you know. But politics mess it up, right? And they build houses and they put concrete and things. It's a couple acres well that was supposed to be like a nice natural resort where you carry a family on a Sunday, probably like all the botanical gardens was really supposed to be 2 dams to hold the water running down from the Marval River. A lot of people don't know that. What we call the hollows was supposed to be 2 dams, you know, holding water for people in Port of Spain. And that was hollowed out and done for that purpose. But then that came and that fell through. And now people go and they carry their families there. They have transformed into a green space.
That is the final hour started. That the final hour started.
The final hour started in the hollows. A lot of people don't know. You see, knowing the history of something is very important, and then you understand how irrelevant governments are. Do you know the Tunapuna market was really meant to be the what is designed as the Tunapuna market was supposed to be this place in San Fernando where they have concerts. Not supper. Before supper. We used to have musical festivals there and all that.
Naparima Bowl?
Naparima Bowl, yeah. The Tunapuna market is Naparima Bowl, and Naparima Bowl is the Tunapuna market. The architect conceived the plans.
Serious?
You find Tunapuna market shaped like a concert hall? You ever wonder why a market shaped like a dome?
Well, Dad, you used to frequent our market, you know. I never went to our market, you know.
All right, well, the next time you're in Tunapuna, go and look at Tunapuna market and you're really looking at the design for a concert hall. And the next time you buy Naparima Bowl, I grew up in San Fernando too. Naparima Bowl was really designed to be a market. And the engineer confused the plans. And they built what's supposed to be Naparima Bowl, they built it in Tunapuna, and what's supposed to be Tunapuna market, they built it in San Fernando. Right?
You know who built Naparima Bowl, right? Which government?
I don't know.
NER.
Oh, is NER built the Naparima Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been that early under A&R Robinson.
Yeah, that was under A&R Robinson.
Right, so it was Eric Williams, George Chambers, and then A&R. Okay, that makes sense. Around just before 1986. Yeah.
Somebody saying on the live that PNM left too many projects in limbo, in the sense that they wait for the 99th hour to do things, when now that the UNC is in office, the UNC just decided to put that on hold or get rid of that. And I remember the last time you were on, we were having that discussion, and you were saying that, you know, that is something that governments need to stop doing. If the government come into office and see a good project, then continue with the project. Why discard a project because you did not concept, it is not your concept, or you didn't formulate or envision the project? Why get rid of it?
All right, so I think that question is relative. The project is good for what? It have good and it have good for nothing, you know. It have good to throw away.
Yeah.
All right, so if it is the all right, let me give you an example. Now, with all this happen in a racially divided country, where you have on one side you have the Indian party, you have the African party, and you have this racial nonsense going on, even though for the most part I think Trinidadians we really do take on the racial thing.
You really think so, Dad?
No, man, I think a lot of people, I do at least know that there's African and Indian marrying and making a set of double children and things, man. I don't think it affecting people to the point where Indians are marrying Africans and we killing one another in the street and all that. No, we ain't reached that bad yet. The politicians haven't been able to penetrate the core of society to the extent where Indians fearful for their lives because Africans killing them or Indians killing Africans or whatever. I mean, there may be some politicians who are trying to stoke that and push that kind of nonsense and blame all the crime on criminals. And, you know, yeah, some people talk about Indian businessmen had to get guns. And I was very saddened to be when a businessman with a license firearm shot 2 African guys. You know, a headline like that would make some people happy. You know, because some people
that happened?
Yeah.
Where did that happen?
All right, let me finish this point.
All right, yeah.
Right. So the point I'm making is, you said government, the Indian government in power, they start something, the PNM government come and they stop it. But if it's a good thing, they should continue it. So I said, let me give you an example. So the example I'm going to give you is UE South. You remember when the UNC was in power between 10 and 15, they started to build a UE campus in South. You remember that?
That's right where I live in.
That's right. They want to move UE to San Fernando. That project was stalled because the UNC usually only get 5 years. And then we kick them out. This round they're getting 5 years again. And then that is it with them. The PNM come into power for 10 years and the PNM never touched that. Do you think that was a good project for the PNM to continue?
Based on the financial situation of the country, no.
All right, good. So you believe based on the financial situation in the country, the government had more pressing priorities than to go and finish a campus? We don't have one already, where you're building another one for, right?
So let me give you an example why I say that too. When Dr. Rowley came in 2015, the then central bank governor said to him, hey, the country is in a recession. Right? The country has 3 consecutive negative growth. We are now officially in a recession. So watch how you're spending. Right? Mr. Imbert had to go out of the country and get money to pay the public servants that the UNC promised a raise of salary. He had to go get the money, pay the public servants the back pay, and give them the raise of pay. After that, what happened, Dad? After that, what happened?
So you tell me.
COVID.
All right, yeah, COVID came 2021, yeah, around there, yeah.
And what did that do to the world economy?
No, it tanked the world economy and it tanked our economy too.
So how could you build a campus when you're coming to office, the UNC central bank governor telling you you're in a recession? What are you spending? What are you spending because you're in a recession? And then on top of that, while you're trying to balance the books and get things in a gear and get things in a order and try to position the country to come out of that hole that they gone into 3 consecutive negative growth, boom, COVID come and hit you. How you building a campus when COVID come and hit you? And let me remind Trinidad and Tobago, because a lot of us forgot that they give us the narrative that they never did anything with that campus. Do you know, Dad, that campus had a place where they would have housed COVID patients, people who came from America or wherever, and they were living in San Fernando? There was a place where the government would have refurbished and housed patients or persons there at that campus. People don't remember that.
I remember that. Yeah.
So my thing is, while we might say, if it was 10 good years, or 10 stable years, or 10 years of the government gain oil at $100 and something a barrel, right? Because remember, under COVID, oil fell negative. When oil was at negative, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we had no revenue coming in at one point in time. So we had to dip into the Heritage and Stabilization Fund in order to pay public servants who home.
Mm-hmm.
Pay teachers. You understand? Give the nurses and them a gratuity. Give the nurses, it was not gratuity, I take that back, sorry. It was a gratia payment. They gave the nurses and the, because they were working damn hard. And you know that today, Trinidadians watching us in our face and saying to us that PNM did nothing for this country and we suffer for 10 years. Only good we?
Yeah, boy, that hard. But you know, this government is hell bent on finishing that campus.
Yeah. Because that's her legacy. You see, she using that as a legacy.
Right.
Just like how Dr. Rowley used the Tobago airport as his legacy. Something else.
No. The Dr. Rowley was trying to make Sandals his legacy.
Well, that too. The airport and some other, and the Port of Spain Hospital, the new wing.
Yes.
The new wing of the hospital, the Tobago airport, and something else he wanted as his legacy. But again, Dad, Trinidadians just forget. We just forget badly, you know.
It's selective forgetfulness. Selective forgetfulness.
Because you know that there are people who are saying, that there are people who are saying that nurses never strike under the PNM. Only now they're striking because this government only in office a year and the nurses don't want everything fixed one time. That is not true. I can play for you a clip now when nurses strike under the People's National Movement, Dr. Rowley? But the narrative out there is that, hey, watch, it's only because, and let me tell you that, and I'm saying it straight up, the UNC push a lot of race in this country, because under plenty UNC profile, you see where they say it's only because it's an Indian woman, that is why they're protesting. I've never seen when people protest under Dr. Rowley, you hear people say, well, it's because it's an African man, that's why they're protesting. You know, PNM people quicker run out and say, well, Pastor Google only need to tell Dr. Rowley to come off the high horse and fix the workers. The workers and them need the money. People suffering. That is what people would have say under Dr. Rowley.
Right. So these nurses are PNM nurses, or?
Well, that's what they're saying. You know that?
Well, I would like them to start giving PNM injections. maybe more UNC need to get some PNM injections, because right now I tell you, we need to be vaccinated against the UNC, because these people don't know what they're doing.
You really think so? You know what, Dad? You really think they don't know what they're doing?
I don't like how Tim Gopi Singh refer to them as greedy.
But Tim Gopi Singh, you see, again, let me tell you how we just forget. You think this is the first inclination of Tim Gopi Singh? Tim Gopi Singh was in 2015, was it? I want to make sure I get it right. There was a time when Tim Gopi Singh was the chairman of of the RHA, North Central RHA. And he said and did worse. And the nurses run him out of town. Chase that crazy baller out of town. And yes, they got rid of him. I was reminded of that by a nurse. And they brought him back. But Tim Gopi Singh wants to appear, he wants to impress the Prime Minister. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to impress the Prime Minister. How come, Dad? Listen to me. I tell you taught me well, you know. And you don't understand how much you taught me, you know. I want to tell you something. How come you not hearing no other RHA's chairman talking? Only Tim Gopi Singh. How come Swara chairman not siding with Tim Gopi Singh?
Right.
How come we're not hearing the other RHAs? We're not hearing the other chairmans at all. We're only hearing Tim Gopi Singh.
Right.
But I'll say it. And I will say it without fear or favor. And you mightn't like what I'm going to say, but it's the truth. The majority of nurses in this country is of what race?
African.
Why? So why are we confused, or why are we bewildered by why that Tim Gopi Singh have a problem with how much money black women going home with?
Right.
Black women should not be going home and driving no vessel.
Right. Whoa.
Because the black women, the black nurses are the ones who are the specialized ones. They are the ones who are the ICU nurses. They are the ones who are theater nurses. They are the ones who are psych nurses. You check it out.
Right.
How much East Indian male nurses are there in Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, but black people want to lick up one another. We want to lick up one another because we find we ain't like this one. We gonna lick them up. You bust the truth. We have to fight we own and fight people who don't like we. What a fight we living in.
Yeah, boy. It's an angle, boy. I don't know. The nurses thing, I was trying to read up on it. I wanted to get a good background. I think Tim have old beef with them, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, he have, because as soon as he come there, he's a sort of fight with them. So it's an old score he tried to settle with them. And I believe he was put there for that purpose.
Let me tell you something.
He has a lot of...
Let me tell you something, Dad. Let me tell you something, Dad. So, Felicia, the PSA president, she is on the board of the North Central RHA, right? She on that board. She's the president of PSA, and she's on the board. Now, you listen to me, you know.
Yeah, but she's a union woman.
And she on the board.
So she was put there to calm down with it. Wait, you know Felicia does get my blood boiling.
Why? Why should get your blood boiling? Why?
Because I don't know why Felicia, as a black woman, a woman of African descent, allowing herself to be used by the UNC like that.
Really? You don't know why?
Right, I know you know why, but you listen to what I say, right? I have a question for you. I need you to clarify something. Right? Because I want to be sure. I need to be sure. Because I think the last time I was on your program, I said, I think Mr. Manning, Brad Manning, had said public servants, they gain no 10%. And I said, only public servants get 10%, but then I said, I'm going to do some crazy thing. But has the 10% been paid?
To all public servants?
Yeah.
No, that's why the nurses protesting.
So with the 10% that Mr. Nanku said would have been paid.
Not all public servants get it.
Some got it?
Some got it.
They got the whole 10%?
Yeah, let me play something for you. You see, I like when you come on the program, you know. I can play something for you?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Take a listen to this, Dad.
Are healthcare workers in Trinidad being unreasonable, or are they simply asking for what is not only theirs, but what was promised to them? You see, under the former administration, when this guy was the Minister of Finance, he would have made wage offers that nobody agreed with. Even the unions disagreed with it. Enter Felicia Thomas. She heads the PSA, one of, if not the largest trade union in Trinidad and Tobago. Now here is where it gets interesting, because during the lead up to the last general elections, she would have been urging the members of the PSA to vote in a particular way.
Governments that stand against labor must be removed. The mobilization of the labor movement in favor of the UNC speaks volumes on the UNC's policies that will impact labor positively.
It's high time that the union start to advise its membership to vote in a particular manner that actually helps you.
And then she spent the ensuing weeks going on the political platform to tell the members vote for the UNC because wage negotiations are going to start at...
The UNC gave a commitment that negotiations would start with no less than 10%. Do you want that?
And apparently, who thunk it? The people actually did want that, so they voted along those lines. Election came, election went, the UNC won elections. You got what you wanted, but what was the reward for the healthcare workers that are actually on the ground? Well, the government went and dug up the failed Minister of Education from the People's Partnership days, made them the chairman of the board, who then quickly cut the overtime for the same nurses that voted for them about a year ago. And now the union is playing the blame game regarding the 10% wage negotiation. So the members are like, wait, hold up. This is not even the same as under the PNM. It's actually worse because no 10%. And on top of that, you are now cutting the money for overtime. But how has the government and its supporters responded to the nurses simply asking for what they were promised? Well, in typical UNC fashion, they unleashed the social media bots to attack the nurses on social media whole day.
Because she is an Indian woman and they cannot accept that.
Because the present PM is an Indian woman. Jump, high jump. Low racist to the highest level, and that is the truth.
Because Indian ruling, that's why.
Oh yes, Creole rule our country for 56 years, and only corruption from the very start we need Indian to bring back our country.
They are political activists planted into these agencies. May every one of them die painful, slow deaths. They are traitors to our nation. May all of you suffer and die miserably for the suffering you have allowed to go unmanaged today. Sure, there were some doing their duty, but open your eyes, Trinidad. Look at this video. It's 95% one race. Protesting and retarded sheep want to pretend this is not political.
Now I can imagine how the healthcare workers, be it nurses, attendants, orderlies, the entire staff feeling, seeing those comments and posts all across social media by UNC activists. But even as a citizen, I am taken aback at how quickly race has jumped into the mix where it have no place being. I will never get behind somebody not liking somebody else simply because of the texture of their hair. I don't understand that concept, especially given the fact that this outcome would have and could have never happened if it wasn't for people of African descent voting for an Indian woman to become Prime Minister. Something that they would have known when they were voting for her. You know what gets me? Some of the pages that are pushing this content across social media are supported by the UNC government. And not one minister will come out and say, hey, ease you up on that racism. Ease you up on that nonsense stuff. You could disagree with somebody on everything that they stand for and insult them from morning till afternoon and never have reason to bring up their race. It's a sickening disease that some of you all have. Oh, and by the way, remember I said that they dug up the failed Minister of Education from the People's Partnership days and placed him as chairman on the board? Well, guess who is also on that board? We don't have anything called conflict of interest in this country, you know. But seeing that she's now on that board, these words that she said here rings truer than ever.
You have to love yourself and your family.
Do what you have to do, Gil. Do what you have to do. But pick a side. It's either you are a union leader or a government proxy. You can't be both at the same time.
Well, listen to it last night. I listened to it last night and I found it was a fair comment. But Felicia being on a board of the Regional Health Authority is very confusing to me, but I understand exactly what is happening. The Prime Minister, together with Mr. Saddam Hussein and Mr. Barry Padar, celebrating with the Baptists. I saw that video clip of the Baptists singing and Kamala terrified. She's standing up there and these big, strong black Africans, they're dancing and they're singing some of the songs we used to sing on 9 out of 10, 1 by 1 and 2 by 2, Jesus called them by the number, and Kamala very confused. Barry Padar and Saddam Hussein started Barry again. But they're not very confused, but then that's the politics of this country. I think you mentioned it, and it caused you great consternation about that program. It got almost emotional. Then I began to talk about the black people, the black man in this country, and how they can be so easily bought when we saw how some pizzas, a few slices of pizza was able to buy out some people when they went, I think it's a Fusion, they were saying Kamala buy pizza for us and all that. But Barbara Burke dancing and singing with the Baptist community with Kamala, Barry and Saddam there. All they have to do is on Baptist liberation, the only holiday, just promise them a church and they start to dance and clap and sing.
A school. It was a school
or whatever. Right, because the thinking is the PNMA doing nothing for the Baptist community.
And that is a lie.
And that is a lie. So
the Baptist community got land in Cuba.
Yes.
Acres of land for a cathedral, a burial ground, a convention center. $20 million.
Right. So the Baptist community, like the unions in Trinidad and Tobago, have learned how to play both sides. Our school, I will support Kamla, because Kamla in power. Our church, I will support PNM, because they're in power. I want peace and land, I will support Kamla, because Kamla in power. That's how I see it playing. It's like they have reached a point, a low point in their integrity, where it is not important to them to say, I am a PNM and I'm supporting the PNM. I'm not supporting you. That is no longer important to them. It's whoever promised me something, I singing and dancing and falling down on the ground. And I think the unions are like that. They come and they talk a big talk about the people and the people and the people and the people. And talking about socialism and Brother Maduro. I remember that same answer, Roger. Right? Brother Maduro and Brother in Arms and all this sort of nonsense they like to talk. But then when Kamala just come and say, okay, refinery opening point up here. I can't remember the last time I hear from Roger. Because he's getting what he wants from Kamala. I don't expect to hear anything from Felicia pro PNM because she's getting what she wants from the UNC, and the UNC is getting what they want from Felicia. The UNC is getting what they want from the unions. They're quiet. Right? Roger quiet. You quiet. You get a big job in NGC or something, so I hear. Or whatever. And that is what the government wants. If I could keep these union men quiet, if I could keep the Dukes and the Rogers and the Felicia Thomases quiet, then we won't have any unrest during a state of emergency. And it will appear as though UNC ran a 5 years of peace and quiet.
So let me ask you this.
And the Africans don't have the loyalty and the integrity to see through the UNC China do and say, hey, what the hell with all that and all this school? The hell with all that and all that land? The hell with all that and this RHA thing? I don't want any chairman or anything. I don't want that. That's standing for what is right. The black people don't care about that. It's whoever it appears to them, giving them what they want. I told them about a member of my church who was jumping home on Saturday. And I said, who you voting for? She said, Pastor, you know, it's the girl from Nelson Street. The girl born and grew up on Nelson Street. She's PNM all her life. But last election, she voted UNC. I asked her, I look at her in the review and I say, why you vote UNC? She said, Pastor, you know how long I want a house? And PNM gave me no house. So I'm trying my luck with Kamala. That is the politics of this country. In that small little moment there, I saw a microcosm of the politics of Trinidad and Tobago. I try PNM, I ain't get no house, I want to try my luck with Kamala. Yellow is the code. You can't get 10%, you're only going and raise his salary, you ain't getting nothing from PNM, I'm going and try my luck with Kamala. That's Felicia. You see? Roger, we tried to get heritage and we tried to buy all the Patriot thing with the refinery and thing. When the Coca-Man goes down the thing, I go and try my luck with Kamala. Roger, quiet as a mouse, you can't hear. You get them all small work, you put some money in their pocket, and black people quiet. Whereas the Indian community not so. Kamala dead or alive, they're going on with them. Kamala corrupt or not corrupt, they're going on with Kamala. Kamala clean, Kamala dirty, they're going on with them.
Wow. African people ain't doing that.
No. They are actually proud of their leaders. When their leaders, they see their leaders ripping out the country or doing something right, they're proud of them.
Wow.
They're proud of them. You would think that when Kamala does something that affects even Indian people, but the Indian people will say, not Kamala, no, Kamala, no. They won't do that. They will not go against their leader.
Why?
Because they have a sense of community and loyalty that we could only watch with envy. The Guyanese have a name for it. After call my friend, she know the Guyanese have a name for that. You race first, you vote your race first. I forget the Hindi term for it, but it's race first. Party and politics have come after, but it's race first. Now there are PNM people like that. Eh? There are PNM people from that same street I talk about in that matter. I'm telling you, I know them. I used to come my church in Port of Spain. They go in down with PLM black. And that's why they voted. I remember I was watching a sketch. And a fella on a plane asked another man, Steve Harvey. A fella, Steve Harvey, said, who you voting for, man? The fella say, well, I am voting for Barack Obama. And that was a white man. Steve Harvey say, okay, all right, so you're voting for Barack Obama, that's good. So the man asked, so Steve Harvey asked him, why are you voting for Barack Obama? He said, well, I like his policies. I think he'll be a good one for the nation and all of that. So the white man asked Steve Harvey who he voted for. Steve Harvey said, Barack Obama. The white man asked Steve Harvey why. He said, because he's black. So the white man said, so what about his policies? Steve Harvey said, I don't care about his policies, he's black. Right? Now you see, that kind of loyalty to race is what the Guyanese, Cherry Jagan and them fellas teach the Indian Guyanese. I forget the name of the term they use, but it's race first. And that's the policy here, is race first. Right? Now, the Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha, under the leadership of Satmaran's son, I think it is now, they said they wouldn't support Kamala. You remember that?
I remember when Sat said that.
Right, because Kamala is no UNC is no longer an Indian party. Right, you remember that, right? Because you have too much African in the party, right? You have too much African in the party. It's no longer a party of race. And that is the culture that was handed down to them from Cherry Jagan and Guyana, remember in Trinidad, Guyana, and Suriname with the Indian populations. The rest of the Caribbean is black, You know that? Caribbean is like 90% black. All right? We have Indian populations in Suriname, we have in Guyana, we have in Trinidad and Tobago. And it's the same racial nonsense going on. So they're very united because they're in a minority, and minorities always come together. And always find strength in one another because it's just a few of them. And the mindset of race first is something Africans never had. As far as Africans are concerned, if Africans mess up, I'll move them out of India.
Yeah, that's a
Africans
fact.
will do that.
That's a fact.
Africans will do that.
That's a
So
fact.
Tobago has had 65,000 people for the last 100 years. The black people in Tobago will never say, okay, what, Rowdy black? I support Rowdy. Tell you that. If Kamala gave the Tobagonians what they want, they'll go with Kamala. Like something it could never get through with Indians.
But you know what I have a problem with, though, Dad? I used to have a problem, or I still have that problem. When ancient Ishmael, the late ancient Ishmael, would leave the bamboo, come to Pleasantville, and walk among African people and tell them, don't vote PNM, no. Don't vote Mr. Manning. Vote UNC. Vote UNC. Don't vote Mr. Manning. Vote UNC. I had a problem. Here was my problem. My problem, and I always ask the question, how it is Philip Alexander could feel comfortable to walk in Nelson Street among black people and tell them, hey, because all you're black, that is why PNM never fix all your wooden windows How it is these people can feel so comfortable to walk into a black community and bring down black leaders, and there's a level of normalcy with that. Do you feel I could go in Barapo and tell people in Barapo, don't vote Kamala, vote Rowley, vote Penny? You feel they will listen to me?
No.
But why black people would listen to Philip? Why black people would Ray Philip when he go into there in Nelson Street and tell him, yes, I will change all your windows from wooden windows to aluminum windows, and they will shout, yeah!
Yeah, because black people are easily bought, and because they always feel as though they are victims and they are deprived. Anybody who comes with gifts, anybody who comes bearing gifts, they welcome them. They wouldn't stand up for the black community if Philip come into Nelson Street and you bring hampers, or you distributing money, or you have a truck where you giving out jerseys and free food. They'll never say no to that. They'll never say no to that. You know, and you'll never hear them say, boy, come out of here and it's chuck it out. You was there now. You'll never hear that. No, they won't do that. They won't do that. They don't feel that sense of loyalty, especially if they have a truck sharing out food and roti and the children start by that truck waiting for something to eat on KFC. No. They will hear what you had to say, and they won't chase him out of Nelson Street at all, because he brings something. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you why I know that. Because you know I did work with Fitzgerald Hines. When Fitzgerald Hines went into Beta, and they kick up the dirty water, them and the heroin woman there, and they run him out of Beta. You know all the people in Beta, son?
What they say?
Right. So I was sitting down in Fitzgerald Hines' office in Tower D. When the fella, you know, Fitzgerald Hines and another fella was with him.
That is the counselor.
Right, that counselor fella, he called Hines. Why I was sitting in here? You hear what I'm telling you? And I heard for the first time the reason why the Beta people kick up against that. And he only made a statement, and I remember when that statement was made, my wife was sitting down right there, and I said, you know, that it's probably true, you know. I remember I said that is probably true. I didn't say that it's true. No one can say it's true, because I heard it from myself. You know why they get on the line? For the first time in Trinidad and Tobago, they listen to me. The reason the people in Beaton kick up dirty water and Hines when they had the flood out is because he come down there with cameras. I'm telling you what the people say. He come down there with boots, and he come down there to make an appearance for himself in the paper. And he ain't bring nothing for the people to eat. He ain't even bring water. But he come with boots, come with cameras, and he ain't bring nothing for the people to eat. And Hines going down and beat them with them same boots and them same cameras and 2 truckload of hampers and blue waters. The community leaders would have killed that fellow who kicked up that dirty water. Now let me go back to the statement Rowley made that I said to my wife that is probably true. Rowley said, black people want you to come in front of the house and hand them $1,000. He said, that is what they want. That is when you'll get their support. If you can't do that, you ain't getting nothing from them. I say, but Margaret, that is probably true, you know. After hearing that statement, I know it's true.
So what you
if
saying?
want to be a success,
So what you saying, Dad? What you saying to me, and what you said this at one time on the program, and I have a friend, who listens to the program, and she called me and she said to me, "What your father said there is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help him, God." I said, "What are you talking about, Gil? Were you really saying, Gil? What is he really telling me?" She said, "Here I telling you. Your father said that if Kamala Prasad Bisesa only get a windfall of money and start to pay people like rain, everybody go forget about CPEP. Everybody go forget about URP. Everybody go forget about forestry. All the casual workers from HDC. And on top of that, they go forget about all of the counselors, guidance counselors and they from in the schools who haven't been rehired. They will forget about all of that. And you know what happened?
That's true.
If she put Munilal, Kunilal, Rulinal, Barry, Harry, Jolene, anybody to take over that party in 2030, that's it for PNM.
All right, so we talking about we talking about several things in politics, but I think understanding the mindset of the people is very important. Now, being men of the cloth as we are, we understand the problems that God had with the children of Israel. And I see a lot of similarities between the children of Israel and black people in general, especially black people of the diaspora. I can say with surety that black people on the African continent behave in the 57 African countries we have in Al-Kibulan, that they behave like that. But children of the diaspora in the Caribbean, in South and Central America, black people who have been scattered, who have been tormented and tortured through slavery, we have developed a culture of dependence. We don't have the economic freedom among us as much as the other races and all of that. And so we have evolved that kind of Israelite attitude. And when I say Israelite attitude, God was feeding those people manna all the time. And they were comfortable with the manna until they saw other people enjoying meat. And they said to Moses, "We want what the other people eat." And Moses said, "Man, the manna good enough." And they start to complain and they cry, and God said, "Oh gosh, God, handle them from an I can't take them no." The Bible says God rained the manna down on them, and they ran out and they ate the manna, but they ate so much that they started to vomit, and it came out through their nose and their eyes. And that day, the angel of the Lord slew 14,000 of them because of their greedy ways, right? And they wanted all this manna and all of that. They wanted this food that the others were eating. And throughout the 40 years God dealt with the children of Israel, he had that problem with them. They had a kind of mentality, right? They wanted what others had, and God always had to be appeasing them and all of that. All right. So we're talking about the mindset, the African mindset, the mind of the African person in the diaspora. And Rowdy is saying black people wanted to come in front of the door and give them $1,000 in their hand. I remember doing 2 crusades. The one in Samoa and the other one I did where I saw that very clearly was the one in Samoa. I remember where it was. I remember in the Samoa crusade where I baptized 458 people. It was the largest baptism, single baptism ever by a local evangelist. And I decided I want to get these people out of the house because I was living right there. I was living on Lucas Hill.
right? And the crusade was in Himalaya Club, next to Himalaya Club. I mean, Gary George Church benefited from my crusade tremendously. But I remember I decided that the track coming down from Locust Hill, where you have to walk through Himalaya Club and come on to First Street there, it was bad. The road was bad because I had to walk that track with my little tank on my head when my family need gas and thing. You know? Them days I have a little work car. Sometimes I hear the car is working. So I had to walk through that track and tote a tank of gas on my head. But coming down the steps weren't good in that kind of thing. It was muddy and it was slippery and it was dangerous. And one of the things I did in that crusade, I raised money to build a proper set of steps for people. And the people said, you know what? The people came out and said, we're fixing this step thing once and for all. This parcel of land here to state and the government tunnel and drain running under that. So they can't put a heavy building on that. So I knew that Gary George could only use that as a car park, which is what it is being used for now. So I said, that truck coming down there so the people can access First Street. And we came out on Sunday and people come and we bought cement and, you know, and the people came out and we built the steps around and so people was able to walk safely down. After that, hundreds more people started to come to my crusade. A lot of people came to me and said, Mackenzie, you know what? You'll do good in politics, you know. Because you see how you handle the people there. Yeah, you move better than a councilman there. You think about the people. You take money from the crusade and you think about the people. In that crusade, I had 17 marriages. It's the largest mass marriage ever to take place in the history of the country. I had the largest excursion. It's the largest excursion ever to take place in the history of the country. We had 11 buses. PTSD gave us an extra bus and 2 wreckers to go to Manzanilla. That crusade was a success because I mingled with the people, I walked to them, I identified with them. But I got an insight into how people think. Now, people have had a problem with Israel in this country. Right? People within this constituency that say he don't come around, and I think it's a common thing with a lot of politicians. People say they don't come around, and you know, and all of that, and they don't see them as when election time. They don't see them, and not just him alone, but that is a common complaint for certain politicians. We don't see them. We don't see them. The culture of our very small third world country, which is just 1.3 million people, is one where I must be able to come by your house 2 o'clock in the morning and say, MP, my children are hungry. And they get up and they feed them. Jack Warner used to wake up 2 o'clock in the morning, drive down to Shagwana's East or wherever he was handling, and sit down in the office from 3 until 9, 10 in the day. Anytime Jack Warner land in the office, he have a storeroom full with hampers. Families would pour in. Jack Warner giving them food. Giving people money in their hand. Hey, look, hold 500, hold 300, hold 400. You would have packets of money there to give to people every day. And he won the seat. People voted for him. But they didn't really vote for Jack Warner. He was supporting Kamala. I'm just showing you the difference. He was supporting Kamala. So as far as we're concerned, we'll support Jack because Jack supporting Kamala. The day Jack meets Kamala and formed the ILP, those same people who say, die for Jack, I will take out my heart and get Jack. They say Jack is the Makaram boy. He turned against Kamala. He turned against the party. Now we are attacking Kamala, and they went right back like a dog to the vomit. The Kamala Prasad says that. It brings me to Jesus, our Lord and Savior. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cause the blind to see. Jesus used to be sleeping over by Peter's house. Right? Jesus used to be lying with the disciples. The Bible says he had nowhere to lay his head. Foxes have holes, birds of the air have nests, nowhere to lay his head. Jesus among the people, when it's time to eat, Jesus not just eating alone. He feeding 5,000, he feeding 10,000 people. 12 baskets left over, he give it to the poor. He go in people's house, he healed Jairus' daughter, he raised Lazarus to life. Jesus was nobody was among the people like Jesus. Jesus used to lie with hoes and prostitutes. If Jesus was on the earth tonight, Jesus would be in Woodford Square. But Jesus would be on Murray Street talking to 2 night workers there on Murray Street. Jesus would be on the avenue. That's why Jesus would be like the kind of man he was. He walk among the people, he talk among them, he feed them, he clothe them, he healed the sick, he raised the dead. The man gave his life 3.5 years of ministry.
for the people, not even a house of his own. He never married and had children to say, well, again, somebody food to my children. They bring out Barabbas. Pilate say who all they want. They bring out Jesus. Pilate say who all they want. They say, give us Barabbas, crucify him. You see that, boy? You see that? Me? Yeah, people ask me, McKenzie, boy, you ain't going to politics. You know, you're born for that. A man come here and tell me you're born for that and you're denying your calling and God will hold you accountable. A man like you to rescue the country. See all them chain up, though? See all them chain up, though? I understand human beings and I understand my people. I probably understand them too much. Because if I didn't understand them so much, I might have taken a chance of them. And I would have said, well, let me go out there and spend my guts and be there for the people. I'd rather be there for the people, but not as a politician. You know, not as a politician, because you'll be disappointed. And I believe that Dr. Rowley is a very hurt man. I believe some of the pain and the hurt he would have brought on himself by some of the things he did. He was a bit reckless coming down in the last part of his second term there. You know, some of the things he did, he just should not have done. And if you tax the people, tax the rich first. Don't bring property tax for the poor people and the men like Faris Arario. How much building making all this set of money? Tax the rich. Alright? Okay, the country has no money, you can't pay public servants, so I'm not taking a raise. He should not have taken that raise. These are the things that upset people. 100,000 people inside here didn't vote. And it's because of that. You know? They thought that the man was self-serving and self-seeking and he wasn't willing to make a sacrifice. And that's the thing with leadership. You have to be willing to sleep on the side of the road and give a man your bed. If you are prepared to do that, the people won't respect you. Where is the sacrifice? That man don't love the people. That man only studying himself. When I had a ministry in town, we used to be feeding people. All the taxi drivers used to be bringing people to my church every Sunday. Them taxi drivers miss me bad. People that still meet me and tell me, Pastor McKenzie, sometimes we in a taxi and they're saying, boy, where the man you start this church, boy? Since that man leave here, we poor. Every Saturday we making money bringing people. Them taxi drivers used to look out for Saturday. Bringing people up to that church. You know that. You was an active man down there in that church. 1,000 people. Biggest church in Port of Spain. What we used to do? We used to go and feed the people down by Riverside Plaza.
Oh, yes.
Right? We used to go and sit down and pack out food and stand up. I go on among them. I remember say, Pastor McKenzie, don't go. Some of them people are TB. Some of them people are syphilis. They have gonorrhea, they are HIV, they are tuberculosis, and you going inside that place? We will go, you don't go. I remember I fill out envelopes with cash money and hand out to them people cash money. Don't get them. Somebody went and reported to the mayor or whoever it is. And they write me and tell me how to stop that because they can't be giving them people money. Most of them is drug addicts. I said, okay. They must need a change. I remember talking with the fella from St. Vincent de Paul. And he told me, he said, you know, it's the greatest need among the homeless in Trinidad. I say, what, boy, food? He said, no. I say, turn food? He said, no. I say, for the man shaving razor? He said, no. He said, hey, I say, what? He said, bacon. I say, what? He said, bacon. I said, what are you talking about? He said, you see that man sleeping by the side of the road? They eat a half a roti. And they have to protect that roti because another homeless vagrant trying to take their roti. So they put that roti, they wrap it up, they sleep, they put it behind their back. But it's a cockroach and man tackling the roti whole night. Bacon. So we start to put in the packages for the homeless a tin of insect spray. I would have never known that if we didn't have that kind of ministry. Right? So working among the people, I did it. I did it for years. Went on Carrera, 2 weeks. Went on Carrera, preaching to them fellas on the island. One day I preaching and I talking and I started talking with my wife and my children in prison. God pulled me one side, he said, no. He said, don't talk about your wife and the children, boy. He said, go have riot after you leave here. So you mean? He said, nah, boy. When that men look up here for 40 years, 50, 60 years. And them men leave their wife and their child out there and them men grieving in here. And to hear you talking about that, when you leave here, them men go in a depression. So understanding the people is important. And you know what? I think I have a better understanding of the people than most politicians. And if you put me out there in any district, I would have the people that will never vote for anybody else but because I know how to get to them. But trust me, it's backbreaking work. And when they're ready, expect them to turn on it like they turn out first. That is what you have to live with. And if it's black people, worse yet. At least Indian leaders know they have the support of the Indian people, boy. No matter what they do. My father could walk on wine all day. They'll support him. Kamala could do what she wants. They will support her. We black people don't have that support from our people. We had to sit down and watch Felicia Thomas, a black woman, talk to 65,000 public servants and tell them vote for UNC. And then this year, RHA chairmanship, and watch her forget about 10%, right? To keep her quiet. We had to sit down and watch men like Ansel Roger, who like to talk black this and black that, and the people and this and always singing, we shall overcome. He have a singing ministry. We shall overcome, we shall overcome, we shall overcome. I can't hear him yet. Them union men pulling $70,000 and $80,000 a month. Them men making more than a judge. These people don't understand them union men salary, you know what? So you can them fellas. Them fellas salary is smaller. They're making more than a judge and a prime minister. Right? The 65,000 people paying $20 and $30 every month to keep them union running. If it's 5 cents they're making, the man is a rich man. And plus they're getting contract in all them companies they're representing them, they're getting contract. Them union men is millionaires. Right? And then the parliamentarians are millionaires too. Is a set of wealthy people, Rudal and them people. Right? So they're not really feeling what the people feeling. And I was telling somebody the other day who was saying, yeah, it's good for you, take that on. I don't know what way you can't talk so. You can't say it's good for the people. The people really thought they was getting something better with Kamala, right? But they're stupid, yes, they're stupid. Jesus called us sheep. Sheep is the dumbest animal. That is the worst insult they could give to you. But Jesus said we are sheep. And if you're sheep, your daughter, she's stupid. So to say the people stupid is like, what? That's an oxymoron. We know we're stupid. So they believe Kamala. They really believe they was getting something better, right? And when Rowley come back, Rowley and them Rowley Penny, when Penny come back, they'll believe her too. Because they'll believe that she'll see what they're going through and she will do something different for them and they'll vote out Kamala. Because they'll believe what Penny say. And if Penny give them what they want, and Kamala bounce back,
no, not Miss Bissasab. She'll be in her 80s. Oh, please. Let's take some calls. Oh, gosh. Let's take some calls. 464-7003. 464-7003. We're taking your calls. All right? We're taking some calls before we close off. Who were you saying? Miss Bissasab cannot make that time in. Let's be real, man. Are they wicked or what? You can see Miss Bissasab coming through in that timing. Hey.
2035?
No, never. Let's take this call quickly. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good night. Pastor Google and your daddy. I take any discussion. I want a healthy discussion. And see, Africa people, we have to wake up and be brothers keeper. Pastor Google, I doubt to this day to see it really arises in this culture and it's very strong. Pastor Girl, I know I was a man campaign real hard for the UNC. I cuss and say the worst about the UN, about the PNM. I was a man, the damage was really done. But what I see today is pure racism and victimization and discrimination with them sending on them. I was a man coming out and talk. The damage already done. I don't put myself there, but I think of myself there. Me looking for campaign for nothing. I campaigned for the last 9 years, cost the PNM. I mean, benefit nothing under the UNC. God bless me with a home, for my 2 daughters under the PNM. Regardless of the house, we never feel less than 14. You may get this Pastor Google, I'm telling the nation how wicked and stink. Them don't like black people. Them use poor black African people for vote. They ride up on African people back. Because I live in an East Indian community now. And what I saying, all the jobs is right in the back behind the Karani Bridge. Look at Beatum, Silat, and all them places and them all on the bush today. No jobs. Well, I get the flick. I went down by Barry last week. Barry said, I'm going to talk to me and McQueen. Barry tell me to come back the week. So when we go along there, they say Barry not there. Put ups, we go on there today. All the guys, everybody, chairman, this what thing. Barry had the vehicle in the back. I see MP vehicle. So I go on upstairs. So the woman, I tell the woman, if you come to see Barry, there's that thing. The woman says she want to talk to Barry. So my instinct kicked me. So I tell me, I going downstairs, Barry, to see Barry go and sneak out through the back. Pastor going to Barry, sneak through the back and go on and bust out and go on. I just get the bird and go back downstairs. And so they said, take your turn there, boy. I mean, then I'm saying, take your turn in that kind of way. And this drilling John now, playing like them is used now. So they use Shakwana, they use drilling John as a blackface. They feel like they like black people and they don't like black people. And so drilling John, we share like she long like she's an Indian, and they say that I KFC, I don't care, I have no UNC card, I don't have no party card. Either man trying to defend my black people, and I'm not all wake up and see what all the black brothers and support all them, because it's too much terrorism and victimization thing going on, and this nasty, wicked UNC government by all of the healthy discussion today. I put them out. The wicked.
All right. Thank you very much. No, don't laugh. Don't laugh that young man you just listened to there. You see that young man? He had the worst to say about Dr. Rowley and the PNM. After his contribution on 91.9, you know what he used to say? You know what he used to say? He used to say, fire upon the PNM. Those were his...
Now he's saying fire upon the UNC.
You see, and why he's saying it? Because he went and he experienced what it is to be treated second class.
Do you think that why do you think he used to say fire upon the PNM?
Because he felt as though the PNM didn't used to help the black people.
That's true.
Let me take our next call. Let me take a call. Hello, good evening.
Good afternoon, Pastor.
Good evening. 10%. Good evening, 10%. Dad, this is the guy who Felicia and them fought for to get a little money. He's a PSA member. But are you a member of the PSA?
Yes, I am a member of the PSA.
Okay. So, Dad, this is a member of the PSA. He follows
money, Pastor.
Just on that. Wait, let me introduce you now. Introduce you to the man. Can I introduce you to the man?
Yeah.
So, Dad,
yes.
This is a PSA member who calls in from time to time on the program to try to convince me that he didn't get any money on the Felicia. He didn't get no 10%. While I'm trying hard to believe him, but some of the other I do believe that Felicia leave them in the cold. I don't believe it. I don't want to believe, Dad, that this man who is on the program right now, I just call him 10%. because he belonged to the 10% posse, which is the PSA.
Right.
So my dad was asking a question, young man.
Yes.
Did people get their 10%? You answer him now. I'm taking off my mic again anytime.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say we didn't get the money. Right now, they're telling me we were shown until the media review. And then we hear him 60-40. 60 cash, 40 non-cash. But they can't tell you, they can't negotiate and say what, how, when, why. But that's what we hear. We get no money.
So Dad, you want to ask him any question?
Wait. Nobody get money?
So again?
Nobody get money?
Nobody get no money. They tell you, media review. After media review, they tell you who some shoot, and after the media review, you get some money. But they show you they get all the money. They tell you 60% cash, 40% non-cash.
Shouldn't Felicia Thomas be on the war part now?
So again?
Shouldn't Felicia Thomas be on the war part fighting Nanko for the money?
Sir, can you fight with a full belly?
Hey, listen to me. Felicia.
Can you fight with a full belly? Sir.
I never like that.
Dad, answer the man question. Could you fight? Listen to the Dad. Listen to the question. The question we asking you, Father. Father. Listen to the question we asking you. Could you fight on a full belly?
Especially if it's a banana after eating a banana.
Could you see it?
Can you see the banana? Can you see
if I eat a banana now, could you see it?
No, you can't. So before I go past that.
Wait, no, you wait. You stay right there, 10%. Stay right there. Hear this now. Hear this one like that. Hear this one like Lawyers are drinking milk from their own cows. So yeah, what that? My boy, President, my partner here, I just call it 10%. I just say me numbers 10%. They get a black cent, you know that.
Oh, they get nothing by
nothing. Before
when Brian Manning, they tell them, Oleg ain't nothing. They cost Brian stink.
But the cost me, you know. Yeah. They tell you, December 19 we will get you. Then the 1st December the 23rd. Pastor, you don't work on December 23rd and memo saying they're working hard towards we cause. Well, I don't know how hard they're working because we get yet. That's what happened. Yeah, I mean, I'm paid to right. That's what happened.
You know what's Felicia's salary?
Which one? Six again, two. Which one? Which one? The WASA one? The WASA employee one? The PSA one? Or the board member? Which one?
The PSA one.
That classified. That whole executive classified. Just imagine them try parties also for Christmas. I want to charge me to come to the party. Them try for the carnival. Them try a party for carnival, a semi or for carnival, and they will charge 500 by door. Make me go that. I tell you, yeah, I am the line. But like I say, before I go, Pastor.
Yes, 10%.
You can imagine, right? Wasa is over the fence from month 2. Nurses losing the incentive. And she's so and she quite she that same ball. And she had before. You can imagine if Wasa monthly paid workers were losing they do something. How quiet should that be?
Have a good evening, sir.
No, I'm saying, so you have to know about fighting. How much fight you can fight on a full belly?
I hear you, brother.
Well, you really full to your shirt. How you go fight?
I hear you.
Okay, let's understand. Take a day, Father.
Thank you. Dad.
Yes.
I send you a letter. I send you some information.
Pastor, before I go, right? Hello?
Yeah.
This fella KFC, what did he expect?
Oh, come on, the man had expectations. The man thought that when he thought that what Heavy Duty get and what Kingsley get, he would have gotten. Yeah, don't get the man that. The man have fair expectations.
When commander the people look at us, they will pick and choose who gain thing.
Well, and that is true. But at the end of the day, you can't vex him for having expectations.
Yeah.
If the man qualified to be a janitor, they should have given him a janitor job. If the man qualified to be one of the fellas who cutting grass on the highway or in the parks or whatever, give the man his pound of flesh.
Yeah, I believe that's what they're something, but yeah, I don't know. They don't know why they give it. Yeah, I go on a understand.
Thank you. Dad, I send something to your phone. You want to share it with the nation?
Yeah, just now. Let me look for it.
You see, we have to be fair. We have to be fair. The young man, we would not be. So many of us did not appreciate the young man's contribution on several radio stations, especially 91. But let us be real. The man fight. He was one of the frontline fighters, and he get a nickname from Aisha Wells. Aisha used to call it KFC because she believed that he used to go by KFC and sit down to get Wi-Fi to call the program. That's why they used to call. That's why they just call him KFC. I'm gonna see.
All right, so Michael Anisette.
What did he say?
I see it signed by Michael Anisette.
Yeah, what does he say?
Well, I don't know if it's he saying it's signed by him. It mightn't be him. All right, so I'm seeing a document here from alleged purported to be coming from the National Trade Union Center. It is dated April 1, 2026. Today is April Fool's Day, so expect anything. National Trade Center condemns disparaging remarks against nurses. The National Trade Union Center of Trinidad and Tobago unequivocally condemns the offensive, reckless, and deeply disrespectful statements made by Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, in which he described nurses as lazy and greedy for expecting payment for their labor. Let us be clear, workers are not slaves. Nurses are professionals who dedicate their lives to caring for this nation under extremely difficult conditions, chronic understaffing, long hours, relentless pressure. To suggest that expecting fair compensation for honest work is greed is not only insulting, it is an attack on the dignity of labor itself. These statements go beyond disrespect to nurses. They strike at the heart of every working man and woman in Trinidad and Tobago. They diminish the value of work, undermine morals, and erode the principles of fairness and justice upon which our society must stand. The attempt to justify unpaid labor through historical or religious comparisons in particular is disturbing. Trinidad and Tobago's history is one shaped by colonialism, exploitation, and struggle, not by the acceptance of unpaid labor. We have fought too hard as a people to return to any narrative that normalizes such thinking. NATUC reiterates the respect must be the foundation of all public discourse on labor matters. This is not about personalities or politics. It is about principle
regardless of position or past office, every public figure has a responsibility to uphold the dignity of workers and to contribute to constructive social dialogue, not to undermine it. Statements of this nature do serious harm. They weaken trust, damage industrial relations, and destabilize the social fabric of our country. NATOC therefore calls on Dr. Gopi Singh to 1. Issue an immediate and unequivocal public apology to the nursing fraternity and the wider working population. 2. Engage in respectful and meaning dialogue with the recognized trade unions to address outstanding salary and overtime matters. 3. Refrain from inflammatory and irresponsible public commentary that undermines workers and disrupts national harmony. NATOC stands in full solidarity with the nurses of Trinidad and Tobago. We reaffirm our unwavering commitment to defending the rights, dignity, and value of every worker in this country. An attack on one worker is an attack on all. Michael Anisette, General Secretary.
It sounds like Anisette.
Yeah.
And let me tell you this. Mr. Anisette was one of the first trade union leaders to say to the government that their board appointments are very, 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 how would he use? I can't remember the word he used. But he was talking about it in context of them not hiring or not placing black, equal amount of black people as East Indian people on the board. On boards.
Mm-hmm. You know who is his sister, right?
No.
You remember a former Speaker of the House, Bridget Anisette?
Yes, Bridget Anisette, George.
Yeah. I think they're from the sister aisle. I'm not so sure. Right, so that is quite interesting. I see it's 11:15.
Oh, yeah, it come off.
I don't know. No, I heard you say something to the effect that you're winding down. We're going until 12. Let me know, you know.
Yeah, caught in the morning?
No, but I had to be for the Spain and the Registrar General fighting over a document. They're trying to register a judgment here, so I'm doing some work late into the night. Well, I'm almost finished.
Okay.
But then it's me and them in Port of Spain tomorrow, so listen, long day until go bother me now. You have callers?
Callers was calling in just now when they were reading the document.
Oh, okay. Well, let them call them now. Let's take some questions.
Yeah, we're taking some questions, some statements. 464-7003, 464-7003. So we're taking some of your calls. I know that some of you were trying to call in a while ago while we were while Dad was reading the document. So we can take some of your calls now. 464-7003. Now, Dad, let me tell you something, yeah? I have been watching. I've been watching what is going on in this country. And I must say, you see, Mr. Anisette, yeah, for a while now, Mr. Anisette has been sending some serious messages to the government. Some serious messages to the government. And I don't know if they're hearing him, but Mr. Anisette has been very vocal against what he deems to be racism.
Right.
You know what he deems to be racism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so we're giving people 2 minutes. If you ain't calling the next 2-3 minutes, we winding off. We going and Dad has some work to do. So I will relieve my father.
So Felicia. Felicia, you know it have a series running on Netflix now, everybody running it down. It's a Tyler Perry special. I forget the name of it. And I shouldn't really forget the name of that. But it's a Tyler Perry.
Pastor Google?
Yes, sir.
Tell
Well, I know, are you certain Mr. Your dad case up at the comedy street?
You serious?
Yeah, that years ago, trying along in the street.
Yes, Abercrombie Street by Unity Hall?
Yes, I used to be there. I used to visit there with a regular thing, yeah.
Serious?
Yeah, very serious.
But then you had to come on the 25th for him to see you?
Oh, well, I was thinking of, yeah, I'm a photo of a try and see. Listen now, tell your father what you're trying to remember is up and jump. It's me both ways.
What you said?
Say that again, caller.
You told me your father was trying to remember when you were talking about some racial thing concerning these Indians.
Yes.
It's a Hindu term. It's up and down. And it means both ways first.
That is it. I feel I know this caller.
Yeah.
I think I'm making out your voice. You used to come by me in Center of Excellence there.
No, he said he used to be on Abercrombie Street.
Abercrombie Street.
Oh, Abercrombie Street. His voice sounded familiar.
Yes, I used to be in church. When now you was a pastor, when now you're a bishop.
Just so?
Yeah, I know.
You are the name of Bishop Jester?
I thought I was saying that you get a day a bishop. I don't know.
Good to hear from a soul there from way back. Yes, it's Abidjan or something. Yeah.
Apanjat.
All right, caller.
And I'm right.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor Google. I was feel good when your father won, man.
I wonder why. Why?
Yeah, I know. You hit some good sticks, man.
You hit some good sticks. You see, only like the bacchanal. That only like. It have a lady that tell me. She said, "Leave your father, let him talk. Leave him. I like to hear him talk." I say, "You only like bacchanal."
I want to hear what bacchanal you have with the refinery. You know, I hear you talk about that right at all.
The next time he come on, he will talk refinery.
It's okay, good. God, no, that refinery.
Give him some time to do his research on that refinery bacchanal. I will send him some clips and thing. Let him do his research. All right, caller.
Yeah, that's good.
That refinery like that 10%.
Lord Father.
Yes, I again. I want to ask your dad there. What do you think about the Iran war with America and Israel?
All right. Them go.
So when you come to church on the 25th, you'll hear that.
But let me ask you something, Dad. You know that you know for years you have always taught us about these messianic Christians. These Christians who believe that the Jews, no matter what they do, they're going to heaven. They will always be God's people, and we are subservient to them. You know that, right? They are because and especially in this part of the hemisphere, this part of the world, there are people who believe because the white man brought Christianity, kept crusade in the car park in San Fernando. The white man bring the religion or Christianity, the mindset of what people understand Christianity to be. We have to also follow their dogma where the Jews are concerned. And let me tell you something, there's nothing. Well, let me just say that. Let me say it. I say it how I feel to say it. You see what you have taught me throughout the years about the dogma, the creed, these creeds and them, and the level of ignorance. I don't think anybody could tie up my head anymore, anyway, to believe that those people who are in Israel right now, who walking around believing that they are the Jewish people, whatever they do, right. I am sorry, I do believe that.
Yeah, I'll be explaining that some more. On the 25th, I will explain to the people the difference between the Sephardic Jews, the Ashkenazi Jews,
and the Masoretic Jews. It's very important that we understand that distinction, and that 80% of all Jews today are from the Ashkenazi Jews, which are a Jewish people from Germany and northern France. And that they're white, they're Europeans, they're white people. And the original Jews were black people, right? And black, when I say black, the original Jews were black people. And after they were scattered, all right, after they were scattered, they were basically killed out and they died out. But then there were a lot of European converts to Judaism. And these European converts to Judaism, which are the Ashkenazi Jews, they were the ones who invented Zionism. And they were able to influence the League of Nations in 1948 to have their own nation restored to them based on these biblical principles. And Zionism is what is running America. The Jews are controlling America, you know.
Wow. Let's take this call.
Yeah,
hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Pastor. Good night.
Good evening.
To you and your father. So I'm locked on listening. And what time the sermon starting? On the 25th?
11 o'clock.
We start 11
o'clock. And which part it is?
In
Mandela
Hall in the Center of Excellence. So when you reach by the security booth, just ask the security where Mandela Hall is, and they will direct you exactly to where the Mandela Hall is.
Right, I'm coming to hear about this Jewish thing because, you know, I'm interested.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you.
I'm so sad to hear the people ain't getting 10%. And I live to hear that KSC admit he was wrong about the payment. After did so much for him, I'm glad to hear he admit he's wrong.
Yeah.
Locked on and listening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Yeah, Dad. So let me tell you something, Dad. You know, this thing is so annoying, because so you know that there is this group of people going around now believing that they are the black Israelites, and they are converting a lot of black young men into their beliefs. All right, a lot of young black men. They always on the Brand Lara Promenade. There's me in front of Scotiabank in San Fernando, and you know there's something that jumps out at me all the time, where those religions are concerned and why people are drawn to it. How come? Why are people so drawn to legalistic teachings than being drawn to freedom?
Oh boy, that is a powerful question. That is a powerful question. I don't even think you understand how powerful that question is.
You really think so?
That question strikes at the very heart of human nature.
But you really think I don't know, Dad, I tell you, doesn't know how much you're now that I'm becoming you see, the things that you would have taught me when I was younger, everything now is becoming so real and relevant that I don't know, I don't know how long I will exist in the what they call it, the mainstream religion.
Right.
Because if you don't preach that legalistic aspect of God, people would tend to believe that you're loose, you're carefree, you are I hear a man talk a thing the other day about one save, always save, and the perception behind it. I don't even going on even into that realm with he, but the reality of just being in the concept of understanding that, hey, God, you know, up in the sky, far away, irrelevant to your situation and your life. God, right here, you always taught us that the kingdom of God is within you, and if the kingdom of God is within me and he is the king of the throne, then why I have to believe that he is so far away that he can't understand why going through?
Right. And that is so powerful, you know, the whole idea about people wanting legalism. People don't want freedom. People always like the strict principle.
Why?
People always like the school that have the most amount of rules. And it's interesting. When you mistreat people, they respect you more. They may not like you, but they respect you more. It's the strangest thing about human behavior. But people expect you to dominate them and abuse them. And when you don't, they say you're stupid. And when you do, they say you're smart. People call Pandey all kind of thing, they never call them stupid. People call Kamala all kind of thing, they never call her stupid. Pandey do what he do with the 10 million, people never say he's stupid. Kamala do what she do and let all these people do what they did under her, they never call her stupid. You know, Patrick Manning never thief a cent, but he couldn't pay for his house, they say he's stupid. You know, George Chambers was the most humble, quiet, and loving prime minister of this country, and they say Chambers don't see. Good.
Interesting. Interesting. Real interesting. You know, there's a young man, and I wanted to tell you this personally, but I will tell it on air. There's a young man who is making waves in the gospel world. His sermons are always people always think his sermons and thing. I don't know if you ever heard about the John what is boy something. Oh gosh. His parents are Trinidadians. They were baptized in your crusade in Sawa. And he grew up in the Adventist church, but he left the Adventist church and started his own church. I'm trying to remember the name of the church boy. It's John something, but he making real waves in America. But when you listen to him, you see the legalistic Adventist way, and the dog man talking down to you. He have that down clean. Yeah, I will send it for you. One of these days when I bounce up one of his sermons, he talked about his parents was baptized in a crusade in Sawa, in Himalaya, next to Himalaya Club. Yeah, he gave the whole history of his family, and they migrated to America, and he would have left the Adventist church and went to a full gospel church, and he became a pastor. And he have one of the biggest churches now in America. Real young people, but his sermons are very, very legalistic, and people love it. People love it. People love how he talks down to them in the context of telling them in a certain assertive way. Yeah, people love that about him.
Black people, right?
Of course.
Right.
His church is not multicultural. And when you go to a multicultural church, and nobody can tell me about no multicultural church, because when I used to go to England to preach and stuff like that, there's a bishop over there by the name of Bishop Wayne Malcolm. He has a church in Hackney in the Wrong Chapel. It's one of the biggest churches in the UK. Right? They call it the Wrong Chapel in Hackney. Multicultural, East Indian, African, white people, Chinese people, all of the races at that church. You think he does preach like that? You know what that's called he? The business bishop. Because he comes with concepts and ideas of how to position yourself as a child of the kingdom in all spheres of life. So he and in his congregation he have millionaires who are footballers, actors, radio announcers, TV presenters, movie stars. All those people come into his church, and he always teaches them how to become the head and not the tail.
Right.
That is his style of preaching.
Right.
So the young fella who you're talking about, he's not Adventist.
Nah, he's not
he just
Adventist.
Has his own ministry.
He has his own ministry,
Okay.
Yeah. He's not Adventist.
He's something like he has this ministry, where this strict thing like this fella. I know this one. I'm trying to remember the name of this fire and brimstone preacher who believe his members must wear hat and all of that. You know what I'm talking about?
Who's that boy? Not oh gosh. He's family to Jamal Bright.
Yeah, he's out.
God, what's he oh gosh, what's his name again? I'm getting name now, yes.
His you started telling me about him.
Yeah, boy, he different, boy.
But I'm not hearing much about him.
You're right there. You see, let me tell you what makes those fellas famous, Dad. What makes those fellas famous is when they could, if I could come on my podcast and bar talk you and say all manner of things about your sermons, about your church and all that. That's what has made them famous. And people love that. People are attracted to any preacher or any podcaster who will make 1 million views, 2 million views, 100,000 views. Because why? I'm calling out Jamal Harrison Brandt on some nonsense. Like Jamal was celebrating 7 years or more than that as the pastor of New Birth, right?
Yeah.
So remember, he inherited New Birth. He went and he went for the interview and he got New Birth from after when he named die. That he got New Birth. They had other pastors, other bishops there, and none of them was able to deal with the mortgage and deal with the roof and deal with the different things. Jamal came within 7 years, fixed the roof of New Birth, rip off the roof and put a brand new roof over how much? Close to $16 million. He raised, take off the roof, to over the roof. He do all of that within COVID and thing, Within COVID, he had something called the King's Table. He feed over 500,000 people and stuff like that. But putting all of that aside, he was celebrating, I think it's 7 years of being the pastor of New Birth. Within celebrating that, there was some of the elders who he grew up under, right? Came to bless him now, pray for him and encourage him and stuff like that. And one of the women who grew up with his grandmother, right, came with a cloth from his grandmother. Well, I don't know if it's from his grandmother, but she came with a cloth. And she put the cloth over him and she said to him, "This is a cloth covering you with all of the strength of the woman who you're standing on, or women who prayed for you, women who, that kind of thing now." And she used some terms, whatever. Boy, well, men making millions on YouTube by criticizing Jamal for allowing that to happen. I'm watching one right now. A man do a video on him and he get over 7,443 views by criticizing Jamal.
You know a fella called Drewski?
Nah.
Drewski is a social media phenomenon now. He's the biggest thing on YouTube now.
Oh, look, somebody telling us the fella name is Gino Jennings you're talking about?
Gino Jennings, yeah.
Gino Jennings became famous because he would have criticized or condemned T.D. Jakes. He just condemns preachers, and when he do that, he became famous. Nobody knew who Gino Jennings was until Gino Jennings started to condemn other preachers.
Well, that is what made Jesus famous, you know. Jesus was criticizing the scribes and the Pharisees.
Right.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites.
Because they were the famous religious leaders in those days.
Yeah, they were the famous ones, and Jesus came and attacked them, and the people gravitated to Jesus. So you will always get a following if you become critical of others.
Oh.
Because people will tend to believe that you are the real deal.
Oh.
And you can't be so mad or so stupid or so dumb to know what you're saying and be criticizing people. So there's this belief that this person must have the truth and a revelation. And that's what made Jesus popular.
Okay.
I became popular by criticizing churches. That's why I used to do. Criticize the Pentecostals for speaking in tongues. Criticize the Adventists for the Sabbath. Criticize the Baptists. Well, I was the chief cook and bottle washer and criticizing the Catholic Church. I would do all the Catholic Church and all that, and they didn't have space for people to sit down in my tent.
You remember when you used to play Michael Jackson music backwards?
Yeah, you'll do that. You'll get the crowds for that. All right, that is not rocket science. People will be gravitated to somebody who have that charisma and who doing that kind of thing. If you just there preaching the truth and preaching the truth and preaching the truth and trying to help people and heal them, and you're getting up from the multitude follow Jesus because they believe he had something to say. You understand how it does work with human nature?
Yeah, boy. Yeah. But that's it. But while I understand what you're saying there, you know, Jesus' disciples wanted him to stop some fellas who was preaching who was not part of his congregation or his following. And what Jesus tell them?
Jesus say, allow him. If the man not preaching against me, leave him. He that is not with me is against me. You know? So I think catching, allowing, understanding. I remember when that church now started, people used to tell me, stop criticizing the Adventists. Stop criticizing the Adventists. They're criticizing them too much. Stop criticizing the Adventists. And the church will ram out every week. Stop criticizing the Adventists. But then the non-Adventists would come and say, oh, good boy. I'm learning from how you're talking about the other churches there and thing. You know, so when I start on the Jehovah's Witness, I brought the Jehovah's Witness people to my church and had a debate with them on the platform.
The Mormons too?
I brought the Mormons to that church and had a debate with them. People like that.
The way it is, when they had what is it call it? With the rings? What was it about the rings again?
The what?
The rings that they would use to interpret the scripture.
Yeah. The human and the tumim.
The human and the tumim.
Right, from the Bible, the stone.
Oh, good.
So that Gene Jennings style of ministry, right? Where you come out with that force, and I think you'll always get that attraction where anytime you start to preach mellow, like people tell me, McKenzie, you get soft.
Yeah, you get soft. Yeah, you get soft.
Yeah, because that's what has happened when you get sent. You check any strict father who raises his children strict and see how he does get with his grandchildren.
Oh yes.
His children can't beat their own children in front of him.
Oh yeah, preach it, Dad. Yeah, preach it.
His children can't beat his grandchildren. If he see his daughter pick up a wood or a stick or a belt to beat his grandchild, he rushes the daughter. Leave the child.
Yeah, that is you.
And those children just grow up loving the grandparents more than they love their own parents.
All right. So let me hear the contrast now. Let me hear how you're bringing that into you get soft preaching.
No, yeah, bringing it here, but so let me finish with the grandpa. Grandpa strict. Grandpa raised all the children strict. The one who get the most licks is the first child. For any big family that have 5, 6, 7 people, the first set of children will tell you them get the most licks. The last set of children, they may get no licks. And you'll always hear when they're linemen, the older ones say, but they get no licks. All they didn't know all their father when he was dread, you know. How are talking, boy?
Very true.
Good. Them children go on and make children now. And trying to discipline the children. But grandpa get older now. He's not a young 20-something, 30-year-old man who is young and stupid and only beating each other and getting on bad for everything. He gets sense now. He's much older now. And he realized he had to beat up a child so much. So when his children try to exact his discipline on his grandchildren, he telling them leave the child alone. And there's a good grandpa, look at you used to beat me for that long time. Grandpa gets off. All right, let me bring it wrong to me now. When I was converted, I was 23. Listen, all they see me bad, you know. When they see me under the tent, I was learned 31, you know. All they had to catch me 23, 24, you know. I used to stand up in Tunapuna and board a PTSC bus and preach from Puna straight into town. Every day. The busman used to pick me up and say, look the preacher. Look the preacher. Look the preacher. And I hit them on the bus. And them old ladies and them things. When I come off the bus, I stand up in the bus terminus and I preach. When I done preaching the terminus, I stand up on Frederick Street, I preach, then I go to work here. In work, I have a Bible study going on lunchtime. When I'm done and work finish and I drop out on Frederick Street, I take a taxi from Alexandria Street, St. Clair. I was working Ministry of Education. As I drop out on Frederick Street, I start to preaching. Board the bus. Preach straight from Port of Spain to Puna. Right? Oh, if they feel I was bad, by the time they catch me under that tent, I didn't start to cool down. You know? So when I start under that tent now, and I went to theology school, I get sense. I start to get religious sense now. Because I realizing, oh gosh, my stupidness I used to be talking when I preaching by the side of the road, like I was a madman. What kind of stupidness I used to be saying? Because now I'm studying world religions 1. World religions 2. I'm studying the Greek, I'm studying the Hebrew, understanding what the Bible is, understanding what religion is, understanding that religion is man-made, understanding that all these religious books written by men, and every religion believes their God will inspire the book. Understand that there are 12,000 religions and thousands of gods invented by men. In the beginning, man created God, no God created man, as we created the gods. And my professors telling me that. Now I start to fight my professors in the first year. I fight them in the second year. By the third year, I cool down. By the fourth year, I converted. I was teaching Greek in second year and Hebrew and all of that. Because I started mellow, because I realized it has plenty I didn't know. And I realized that the leaders of these churches know plenty, but they can't tell the people. Because if they open the eyes of the people will leave. And the people will have freedom, so that they keep them in bondage. So there I asked Dr. McGarrell. I said, Dr. McGarrell, if you know that, why you're not preaching that? He said, how am I going to preach that? And the church paying my salary. So all of that started to open my eyes. So by the time I became a Seventh-day Adventist pastor, I wasn't the street preacher I was when I was 23. Because now I'm 30 years old now. I finished theology. I do my 4 years theology. Right? I understand the Bible so much better, I understand life better, I understand religion better, I do world religions, I study Buddhism, Shintoism, Hinduism, I write papers on it, Zoroastrianism, I went up Mount St. Benedict, I study in the grotto there, you know, I study the Aramaic and understand, but wait, this whole thing man-made. Okay, but I'm still an Adventist, so let me preach what the people teach. They say don't eat pork, they say don't eat this. Bad like as I say, I'm going down with it. But I still not the kind of dread, one-sided preacher I was. By the time
I realized I go on Martini and I preach over there. All the Adventists over there eating whatever they want to eat. All the Adventists over there wearing jewelry. So I asked the pastor, Pastor Francita, he was the pastor of the Ismail Seventh-day Adventist Iglesia for the first time Martinique. He was the prime pastor there. I said, Pastor Zita, I said, why the Adventists here wearing jewelry? And back home in Trinidad, they're not wearing jewelry. You know what man said? He said, because the Adventists in Trinidad are stupid. He said, the English-speaking Adventists are stupid. He said, let me show you something. That man carried me to the book of Revelation in French and show me that the scripture that says, blessed are they that do his commandments, for they shall have a right to the tree of life. In the French Bible is blessed are they who have, look my pronunciation, blessed are they who have washed their robes in the blood of the Lamb, for they shall have a right to the tree of life. Pastor Franzita, I'll never forget him. He said that simple difference here is the difference in a religious perspective. He said in the English-speaking churches, the King of England, King James, wanted to keep the text that say that do his commandments and inserted that so that people will always be legalistic and believe is what you do will get you salvation. But you say in the French Bible, because of the French Revolution, they said they're not keeping that interpretation, and they went back and they found the original manuscript in the Masoretic text of the LXX, and it showed that the correct interpretation is blessed are those who have washed their robes in the blood of the Lamb, which means your access to heaven is not based on what you do, but on what Jesus did.
That we just say. We just say.
You know what the hell I just said? Just make that up. No, the point I'm making is that the French Sunday Adventists, they have a different perspective on salvation to the English Sunday Adventists. When church finish on Saturday in Martinique and France, them going cinema and thing, you know? And them liming and thing, you know? And eating their meat and all this other thing, you know? But here is a more strict regime. By the time I came back from Martinique and I do the Marabella Crusade, I preach in different. Because of what I saw and learned in Martinique. All them top Adventist officials came down to Martinique to hear me preaching. The first 5 rows in my crusade, 6,000 to 8,000 people coming at night to hear me, was only white people, you know. Them fly down from France to hear this young boy. Imagine, I baptized 300 people in our church crusade in 4 weeks. By the time I come back to Trinidad, I preach in different. President of the conference called me. And I say, hey, what I'm not preaching on telling people what the rings again. That is because of what I saw in Martinique. I say for the longest while I had the conviction that we're too strict and we're imposing burdens on people. And Jesus used to tell the scribes and Pharisees, and he said, Mackenzie, if you want to preach that, then start your own church. But as long as they work for the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and we put our salary in your pocket, you have to preach what we preach. I say, do you believe it? He say, no, I don't believe it. I'm the president, so I have to believe it as long as I'm the president. And that's when I realized these men wicked boy. That fella's wicked boy. That churchman is wicked man boy. Churchman is wicked man boy. Listen, churchman is wicked man boy. Churchmen don't like people boy. Churchmen know for them to make their money and for them to drive their SUV and for them to live in their big house, you have to lie to the people. That is what the president of the conference told me, Harold Mitchell. He told me that if you want to preach your own thing, he said, go and stand up on a mountain, and when the mountain low, let God give you a check. But as long as I give you a check, you have to see what I say and what the Seventh-day Adventist Church say. And that is when I resigned. I resigned after Marabella.
But there's one.
So let me finish about how I get off. By the time I resigned and started my own church at the age of 35, I was a different preacher. I was preaching liberation. I was preaching freedom in Christ. I wasn't the strict fire and brimstone. If you miss one day in church, you're going to hell, kind of, Jennings kind of thing. I ease up on that. And as the years passed, I started to realize, you grow with age and with wisdom. And then I went and I studied law. And then the same church that I left started to ask me to handle cases for them. And you start to calm down and you realize, okay, God is in control. There's God running this whole show. It's not you in a little world and a little pulpit running. It's much bigger than that. And that's what people when they say I get soft. By God, I get soft. Because if I was still hard, I would have been something like I was 21. And that would have been a side that I didn't know. Because Paul said when I was a child, I speak as a child. But now I'm a man, I put away childish thing. And I just wanted to say I get soft. Because you stop being a child. And I'm no longer a religious child. I'm no longer a spiritual child. I used to be barking and crying and getting on and cussing everybody and everybody would be alone, right? I done with that. So that is the story of how Paul was dread. Paul was spotted when Paul stand up and supervise the stoning of Stephen to death. Right? Paul was dread. He used to persecute the Christians. And then Saul, why persecutors now me? Hard for thee to kick against the conscience. And then Paul come right up. All that stuff, he stopped killing Christians. He said all of us are one in Christ. They are neither Jew or Greek or whatever. So Paul preached a different gospel. And he's the founder of Christianity, not Christ. Paul founded Christianity. Jesus came to the Jews. He came to his own and his own received them not. Jesus didn't come to Gentiles. He came to the Jews. Paul was the minister to the Gentiles, and Paul started the Christian church. He was first called Christians in Antioch. And Paul was a liberation theologian.
There's one part that for me that you left out. That for me was a phenomenal change. Not just for you, but I think for the congregation and for me. Looking at you growing up and always believed in your words over my life that I will become bigger and better, and I will talk to more people than you could ever dream of. Those are things that you would always speak over my life, and those are things that you were more strict with me than anybody else in church, because you believe that where God taken me, you could not have allowed me to be like the others.
You were like Timothy to me, like how Timothy was to Paul.
Yeah.
Right? And so I couldn't stand to see you go wrong.
Yeah.
Or do anything out that time. And I used to could tell her to come home. I would just be grumbling. As she say, you're grumbling about Henry, you're grumbling about Henry. I say, I don't want to see Henry slip at all because he had that potential. I spotted. He was always spotted. So I used to come down on you real hard and I used to say, boy, sometimes when they come down hard at somebody else feel they don't like them.
Yeah.
When a parent meeting our child, for the time that child getting like they feel your mother ain't like it. Because all Alex mommy don't like. But it's love that's called that.
But there was this.
Two people you stop upset me when they do nonsense. You and Wayne Riley.
Okay.
I love the two of them. You see, let's chop on them. I didn't get nothing about them. Because as far as I concerned, them ain't making no sense.
But you know,
up and down books talking and such a crap. They're not theologians. They never study theology. They don't understand certain. I don't care what people say about the mind of a child and God will reveal things to you, right? Yeah, God will reveal things, but trust me, when you pick up a book and you realize how this thing working, you will talk different.
After. You know what? You know what the transformation really came for me too was when you got the Arabic.
Yeah.
You see that? That was a turning point for me, boy.
That Aramaic thing where Jesus spoke in Aramaic, Jesus never spoke in Greek.
Yeah.
And you start to see what Jesus used to say.
That
Lift
you see
a
that?
stone and I am beneath it.
Yeah.
Split a piece of wood and I am inside. The kingdom of God is inside of you.
Yeah.
Are you mad?
Yeah,
People understand that at the point own Christian church.
Yeah. That blew my mind, boy. That blew my mind. I have friends up to today still have their Bibles, the white Bibles that you remember.
I used to show a clip from the movie Stigmata.
Yeah.
Where Patricia acted as a demon-possessed girl. And she was scribbling that Aramaic on the wall. And the priest saw her writing this thing, but she under demonic possession.
Mm-hmm.
And she writing from left to right. So I watching how she writing under that demonic control. And she writing from the right side of the paper to the left. Readers write from the left to the right. You follow me?
Yeah.
We write from the right to the left, but in Aramaic, the first word is not on the left side of the paper. So if you write in, I am John Doe in Aramaic, you have to put the I at the end of the page and write into the page towards the left side. And this girl writing the script. And she said, and when that man interprets what she said in Aramaic, and I got my very unique copy of that Aramaic text, showing the words of Christ in Aramaic, and how the Catholic Church ripped out them words. Rip it out of the Bible. Because they said those words will cause the downfall of Christianity as we know it. Huh? If the fishes tell you the kingdom of heaven, the fishes will always tell you the kingdom of heaven is in the sea because they live there. The birds will always tell you that the kingdom of heaven is in the air because that's where they live. And the animals in the forest would always tell you the kingdom of heaven is in the forest because that's where they live. And it's from that statement Jesus made. They came up with this thing: if God were, if horses were gods, God would be a horse. If horses are gods, God would be a horse. But Jesus said, don't listen to the birds. They live in the air. So they must say the kingdom of God is in the air. Don't listen to the fishes. They live in the sea. So they must say the kingdom of heaven is in the sea because that is where their kingdom is. He said, don't listen to the animals in the forest like the lions and all of that. They must say the kingdom of heaven is in the forest because that's where they live. But lift a stone and I am beneath it. Split a piece of wood and I am inside. The kingdom of heaven is inside of you. It is not made with the hands of men. It is not made with bricks of stone.
Yeah.
The kingdom of heaven is inside of you. But listen, you could close that Bible after that and send everybody home.
Yeah.
You could close that Bible and send everybody home. They had to wait for nothing again because everything else leads right back to that. The Holy Spirit, He is inside of you. He will guide you into all truth.
Yes.
Everything is inside of you.
Yeah.
God is inside of you.
Yeah.
Everything leads right back to that.
Yeah.
But the church wouldn't leave a text like that in the Bible because people will say, well, why are you going to church for? If the kingdom of heaven is inside of me, I don't have to go to church. So church leaders are committed to keeping people in the dark and making them believe in the church and in the pastor and in the priesthood. I mean, when you preach like that, you're destroying your own self. I know that. When I stand up and I preach that liberation theology, I basically telling the people, all you don't need me. So the people will say, well, why going to church for? The pastor say, we don't need him, so I go stay home. And you liberate them, and then people say, I guess off, you're preaching cheap theology. And other pastors don't like you. They want to come and preach in the church because you're liberating the people. Because the money they collected on a weekly basis is based on keeping the people in chains. So my uncle called me and said, Mackenzie, that way you preaching there. Just now you ain't got nobody here, you know. He said, you need to go and study something else so you can feed your family. I said, long time I figured that out. Liberation theology is freeing people, and people have no gratitude or loyalty for that, you know. When they're gone, they're gone. The only thing people loyal to is slavery, which is the same thing you were saying tonight. Why people like strictness, and I tell you, probably don't understand what it is you're saying, meaning that happened to me. Right? From the time you stop being strict and cussing people every week and telling them they're stupid and they're lost and there is nothing, and then from the time you stop that and start to tell them, well, you are something and you're good to go and Jesus has forgiven you, they're going to leave you there.
Wow.
But I'm telling you,
wow.
It's something.
Yeah.
And then I study law and I come out here, I dealing with all kind of cases, I dealing with criminal matters, civil matters. And you're seeing the same behavior with people. It's like a disease we have.
Wow. Well, Dad.
And they turn around and put Jesus on that cross and they spit on him. And they cut it through and push that spear straight through his side. And they say, give us Barabbas. Barabbas are asking people, raping people, children. Just like Trump, big pedophile. Right? They want Trump. They take Trump, they leave out Joe Biden, they say give us Trump. That will never change. That's human nature.
Well, Dad, before you leave, I want you to bless the people with the Our Father prayer in Aramaic.
All right. And his disciples came unto him and said, Master, teach us how to pray. And Jesus said, when you pray, say, I've won the Bishmaya Nif Kadash Maktete. Malkutak Nehwes Yoyanak Aikana. The Bishmaya Abara Haulan Lakma. Sankwanan Yumana Ashwaklan Kauben. Aikana Tapaknan Shwakan Lakailawin. Ula Talan Lenisyula. Ella Pasan Min Bisha Medoto de Loki. Malkuta Ukaila Utash Baktala Alam. Amin, Amin, Amin. That's it right there. I'll come on the 25th and I'll give you the interpretation of that.
Yep. You know, Dad, when you listen, when you look at the Passion of Christ, and you hear when every time I hear you pray like that, and you look at the Passion of Christ, you know that you have it down packed, boy.
Yeah. A man take me, you know.
Okay.
A guy take that prayer and send it to his professor in Ankara, in Turkey. Are you telling that?
No.
A man take that prayer. He said he ain't believe that I talk in Aramaic. You know, I get that Aramaic Bible I get. That dialect of Aramaic that Jesus spoke in is spoken in a corner, a remote area, in a mountainous region in southern Turkey today by a small group of people, you know.
Wow.
There's a lot of people talking about it. And that interpretation I got there, I have to thank the Catholics for that. And the man sent it to his professor. He used to go to the University of New York. And he had a professor from Turkey. And he taped it and he called me at night. I see the strange number come up on my phone. I said, but I'm not New York, I'm not Florida. He said, Mackenzie, you wouldn't know who I am. He said, but I heard you pray a prayer in Aramaic, and I had a professor, and so on. So, and he sent that up to the man, and the man say, that is what Jesus would have said.
Wow.
Right? A big professor, a Turkish professor, he said that is what Jesus would have said in that dialect. We say that you won't get that in modern Turkey, you know. Aram was in Turkey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Aram and Akkad. What we call Akkadian, the Aramaic came from the Akkadian. So that is in Turkey. So Jesus would have spoken in that one of several dialects of Aramaic.
Wow.
And when he preached, all when he said, Jesus would say something when he said, "Don't fool," and all of that. But when they get an interpretation, it's different. So then fellas change up the Bible.
Wow.
They change up the Bible. Yeah, the Catholic Church and King James and that fellas change up that Bible to suit their own needs. But who want to hear that, man? People want to hear that. People want to hear you go die if you ain't come to church. I hear a pastor telling people, any one of you who miss church, right, expect the funeral parlor. So they say, Father, see you in church and see you in the cemetery. The church pack out, you know.
But you know what's Bible that I am now getting more familiar with. You see the Ethiopian, what they call them, boy?
Yeah. Orthodox.
The Orthodox, yeah. Them Bible.
It's very popular now.
Yeah, their Bible is one that I have started to look into. Yeah, man. Good stuff.
It's one of the oldest Bibles on earth.
Yeah.
But the Aramaic and the Akkadian from Akkad and Aram there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the lingua franca of the ancient Near East. That was the language of trade.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why when Jesus said, if a man come and he try to sell you this, and he try to sell you a coin, and he give you a coin, and he really asking you for a donkey, making a fool of you. Out of you, and that's what Jesus meant, and not the way we interpret it. But that wasn't important to King James of England. He wanted that interpretation of the Bible that would keep people enslaved, that would support slavery. You ever wondered why with all the 10 commandments there was not one commandment that said, thou shalt not have a slave? Don't kill, don't steal, don't lie, honor your mother and your father.
Yeah.
But not one commandment that says, thou shalt not enslave another human.
Yeah.
And also, these are well, listen, I can't wait for the 25th. I really hope the people come out.
Yeah.
A lot of people calling me and tell me they're sending it on the chat and all of that. So I really hope the people come out so we can relive some of the old times, and I want to run some slides.
Right.
You know, I want to beat that kingdom of everything and tie it into that Jewish thing.
All right. Well done.
Yeah, so we love that, man.
So I want to thank you
very much for having me on the show. It was good as usual, anytime.
Yeah, man. Thanks again, Dad, for being with me, and we will talk soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Right. Good night to you, viewers.
And people stayed on, you know that. Somebody said before you go, Pastor McKenzie, thanks very much for your testimony. All right? They appreciate your testimony. Okay. And somebody said if you were to give them one text, Pastor McKenzie, which version of the Bible would you recommend to use?
NIV. New International Version.
All right.
Not the KJV. Yeah.
All right. Thanks again, Dad.
All right. Okay. Take care. Good night.
Yeah. Good night.
Yeah.
Final Hour Christian Ministries invites you to their annual Visitors Day service. End of days. Where are we in 2026? On Saturday, April 25th, 2026 at 11 a.m. Mandela Hall Center of Excellence with Pastor McKenzie and the Final Hour family. See you there. Final Hour Christian Ministries invites you to their annual Visitors Day service. End of days. Where are we in 2026? On Saturday, April 25th, 2026 at 11 a.m. Mandela Hall Center of Excellence with Pastor McKenzie and the Final Hour family. See you there. Coming soon to Constructive Talk Network, Critical Thinkers. It's a youth show with a youth perspective on current affairs and issues in Trinidad and Tobago. Critical Thinkers, youth perspective on Constructive Talk.
Well, praise the Lord, everybody. Blessed good evening to you, a blessed good day to you, a blessed good night to you, wherever you are viewing this advertisement today. I'm just to remind you that this coming Friday, make it a date with destiny. There is a word in the prophet's mouth that is going to bring you out. I tell you, it's a good evening, and it's a good day, and it's Good Friday. So you want to join me, yours truly, Apostle Dr. Corey Grant, for a time in his presence. Hallelujah. You want to join me in this location at 166 Point of View Road in Vistabella as we come together as a people on this Good Friday morning to lift up the name of Jesus. Hear me. Something good is about to happen. Something good is in store. And bring the family out. Bring everybody out. I want to meet you there. I tell you, there is a word. There is a word. And I want to tell somebody looking at me right now, you are scheduled to overcome. Join me this Friday, Good Friday, 10 a.m., right here in the house. Don't just meet me, beat me. I'm looking forward for you. It's a Good Friday, and Good Fridays, good things happen. Stay on the wall, don't come down. God bless you.
The information provided by the speakers and or presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. All information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information.